All right, everyone. Welcome. Good evening. Welcome to episode 97. I am joined by another fellow American Hero Hunt. I think it's the second person, right?
Yes, it is.
American Hero Hunt. Excited to talk more about that. But I'm joined by former U.S. Air Force National Guard Staff Sergeant Travis Lindner.
Yes,
it's an inside joke we had going yesterday on a lot of stuff. As soon as I sent that to you, I was like, oh no. Mess up, but it's all right. It's always easy to edit stuff. So we'll start off with the bio like we always do. So tonight I'm honored to sit down with former Ohio Air National Guard Staff Sergeant Travis Lindner. Travis was born on July 4th, 1988. We'll talk more about that. In Newark, Ohio. The birthday he jokes was basically an automatic draft card. Growing up in the 90s on a cul-de-sac with his younger sister, life was filled with bikes, sports, skateboards, and simple rule of being home before the streetlights came on. I remember those days. Yeah. While still senior in high school, Travis enlisted in the Ohio Air National Guard as a Security Forces Airman. After completing basic training and technical school at Lackland Air Force Base, he returned home to serve with the 121st Air Refueling Wing at Rickenbacker Air Force Base. In 2011, Travis deployed to Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, where he served until returning home in 2012. Before completing his military service later that year. After leaving the military, Travis built a successful civilian career across multiple industries while staying committed to the values of service and community. Today, he is a devoted husband and father, passionate outdoorsman, avid runner, which we'll talk more about. Yeah. Buckeye fan and supporter of the American Hero Hunt, which we talked about earlier, helping veterans reconnect through hunting in the outdoors. Most importantly, Travis has become a strong advocate for addressing men's mental health and the growing impact of technology and screen time on our relationships, families, and overall well-being. Tonight, we'll be talking about service, fatherhood, mental health, hunting, resilience, and how we can reconnect with those we love. Please join me in welcome Travis Lindner to episode 97 of Wars with Patriots. So thanks for coming in.
Thank you, brother. It's
awesome. A long time to
to
get you connected in here.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. So we'll start off with a quote. This is one of my former, I think, I've come a long way in my how I feel about the National Guard from when I first came in a long time ago. But this is from my former 2nd Infantry Division commander, Lieutenant General Russell Honore, who became pretty popular after Katrina. But he said the National Guard has served America as both a wartime force and the first military responders in times of domestic crisis. Hundreds of times each year, the nation's governors call upon the Guard troops to respond to fires, floods, hurricanes, and other natural disasters. And I just think that's, it's kind of fitting too, just knowing being here in RA, what just happened with the 121st refueling. Yeah. They lost an aircraft and I think 4 crew members.
Yep.
Just in the past year. So, these are Ohio Guardsmen. They're, out. Mm-hmm. I can't make fun of it anymore because I used to I'm not gonna lie, I used to be like the Guard.
Yeah.
I was in the Vermont National Guard to be fair too, though.
It was a sense of hazing in basic, right? And even tech school. But then I'll never forget in my roommates finding out that I got to go home.
Yeah.
And like, what do you mean you're not going to your duty station? Like, no, my duty station is 30 minutes from my house. Right. And it kind of changed their outlook because now they were taking that next step into, the active duty, and they can't go home. They don't know when the next time they're going home is.
Yeah. And I used to think it was like, like I said, in college, I was in the Vermont National Guard, and just the interactions we had with that was not like what I considered to be, honestly, not serious. It was like, hey, just go once a month. Mm-hmm. Bullshit. Get paid. Right.
Yeah.
But, when, 9/11 kicked off and just even today's world, I mean, just the way the military is now, the National Guard and all the states play a critical role in what they're doing. Mm-hmm. We just happen to have like one of the big, refueling wings here in Ohio. And so every time these things are happening, you forget that these men and women are leaving their jobs, right? Their full-time jobs, their family to go do this thing. And it's, I hate to say it, I used to make fun of the National Guard a lot. Now I'm like, cool, I get it, because I've said it before, like when you're in active duty, this is all you do, right? Mm-hmm. That's all you know. So there's not really, if it happens, you're looking forward to it. But like, honestly, it's hard to say, hey, I have this job, I'm rooted in this area. Now I got to go away for,
it's
3 months, 6 months, or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
It's a completely different experience because, we, in a way, only had to turn on the military side of things at annual training or once a month or maybe you even worked an AGR position where you were on orders at your base, which I did a few times. But once drill was over, it was go back to the real world. So you got the taste of both sides, right? Yeah. You didn't just live with your uniform on.
Yeah. And I did, when I got out to active duty, I went to the reserves, and I've had that same type thing. And I personally didn't like it. It was really hard to be like, okay, hey, I'm leaving that. This is what I was doing before. Now I got to go back into doing this for a weekend a month or 2 weekends a year. And it just was not, I didn't like it. I mean, honestly, it was way harder than I thought, doing it. I mean, I'm just glad that people do it.
Do you think doing a little bit of reserve time after active duty helped your transition?
No, because I have it for me, like, we could talk about it later, when we can talk about it now, it doesn't matter. But, a lot of my getting out of active duty was, me losing my purpose. Right. So, when I got out of the military, my purpose wasn't anymore, I was working for Penske Truck Leasing. And so my what I thought was my purpose was very, I was struggling with that. Right. So I was trying to, reestablish myself into what the world looked like, being out of the military and what that looked like. And then, I think it could be easier for me. It wasn't like, 1 weekend a month or 2 weekends a year, you get put back into, so you're back into your comfort zone. Right. Right. But then again, is it really delaying your ultimate,
just kind of
complete transition,
ripping the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. And it works for some people. I get it. It just was like a weird thing for me, because I was like, oh man, it was hard, because I was really, because honestly, I was struggling with transitioning into the civilian world. Right. I'd grown up in the military, as an Army brat. That's all I'd known. So like, I was really struggling of how do you, like, at that point, honestly, like, how do I go to the doctor now? Like, I didn't know about any of, like, it's all a joke, but I'd never been to
and they don't tell you anything.
No. Yeah. So I don't know if it helped me. I mean, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I just know I struggled. I know that it would do that. And then it was like, conflicting with, there's a demand to do that. I thought it was just going to be kind of, like I said, my time when I was in college, hey, I can make it, I can't make it, but you have to have, now I have full-time job. Now I have, the reserves, and, you just start to butt heads with things. And when it finally just started butting heads, I was like, yeah, thank God I have to do this, so I can leave.
You going from a career in active duty into the reserve or the guard world, you are taking things maybe not more serious, but like with a different approach than the guardsmen or the reservists.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah,
I will. I'll admit it. Yeah. Because we did our time in the space that it was. You're here on a drill weekend to work, and then you're off.
Yeah, but it was, for me too, it was also like, this was 2005 time frame. So, both the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq were fairly new. Did we know they were going to go another 16 years? I don't think we did. So like, a lot of the people in my reserve unit had never deployed. So there's another thing too, is like, I'd already deployed. Their idea of deployment was, that unit was to go to Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Yeah. And so there's a lot of people that were really excited to be like, hey, I'm going to go to Fort Sill, Oklahoma for a year, or on orders, whatever, because they're getting, in some cases they're making more money being on active, back, getting mobilized, whatever. So there's that conflict of like, yeah, if we were going to mobilize to go to Afghanistan, Iraq, I would have been a lot more excited about it than just say, hey, I'm going to, because I was transitioning out. So it's like, almost at the same time, it was like, it was a different time, because in 2005, I think you were still in at that time.
It was a year before I got in.
Yeah. So like but it's around that same time we got in. People were, when you were at Rickenbacker, there were people that were, hey, we need 10 people to mobilize. Guys and gals were jumping on that. Yeah. Because it was a good deal for them. And then we started talking about, okay, now we're going to force mobilize people, which that was crazy to me. It's like, you have all these people that wanted to mobilize. Why are you force mobilizing people? So it was just a weird thing to me. I don't know if no one's ever asked me that question. So I'm gonna have to go with my final answer being, I don't think it helped me.
Yeah. And I can see that. Yeah. We had a past hero for the second shotgun season last year, and he did a full career, special forces, and just retired, got out, like no reserve transition, no nothing. And, he was struggling. Like he didn't have a purpose. He didn't know what to do next. Right. But I could see, after getting to know him for a little bit, he would not have survived in a reserve or a guard world, because he would have bit somebody's head off.
Yeah, it was a challenge, but it was just more of, I think, but it's also me too. Like I also went into it also at that point again. Like I said earlier, I did not have, if I'm being honest with myself, I didn't have a lot of respect for those people, and that's and I shouldn't have been that way. And I mean, a lot of it was like, okay, cool, but I mean, again, that's what they signed up for. I'm just mad that. That's what, maybe I was just mad that that's what they signed up for, and they were getting what they got, and I got what I got for signing up. And it's just that weird time frame. But just me personally, that like dipping my toe in and out of it every month, just didn't help me, because it made me regret getting out. Right. It made me, it made me still hold on to something. It's something inevitably that, a lot of veterans don't like to talk about, is at some point we have to say goodbye to that service. It's the same thing that happens to, like, and it's the warrior class that has a lot of problems with that, because it does tie into what our purpose is, right? Like there's a lot, it does happen in civilian where someone's an engineer for 40 years, but I don't see it as much as them when they retire after 30 years of being an engineer or something else. They're looking forward to, whereas, the warrior class, the military, police officers, that's all they've become, is their purpose, their identity. So when it's gone, they're looking around like that's all I've ever been.
Yeah. Where's that sense of service after that? Yeah.
But it's just that was the thing to me, is I think it's inevitably, I think, that's the hard part about it, is at some point, your service ends, it goes on, and you have the next war, the next situation happens, the next whatever happens, and you're just like, okay, cool. I just had some reflections here. I'm 23 years out from being in Afghanistan. 23 years ago in Afghanistan. It seems like 5 years ago, right? It seems like just yesterday. So I still feel like I can do the same things I did 23 years ago. But then you think about, like, holy cow, not even that with me, is like, when I went in, I think my dad's time, when I went in, it's almost the same time from when he was out from war to me. And it's like, now you're the old guy. Now I'm my dad, right? Yeah. It's like, it's an interesting thing, but whatever. But then again, that's what didn't work for me. So I'm not saying that doesn't work for anybody else. It's all an individual thing. So, but let's talk about growing up. 4th of July. So you got a birthday coming up.
Yes, I do.
So you don't mind sharing your birthday with the national?
It's an honor. Okay. Yeah, it's an honor. And I would say right below that honor is how cool it is that everyone else celebrates my birthday too.
I have another friend of mine, that's his birthday as well. It's like he has a lot of jokes about it, but because mine's 2 days after Christmas.
That's terrible.
I know it is. Yeah, it is really. But 4th of July, because everybody's partying. Like, it doesn't matter what you're partying about. It could be
never had to go to school.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
God, that's a good one.
And I mean, maybe as a kid, the problem was, like, if my friends had family get-togethers, so they weren't coming to my birthday party. Like, that might have been the worst of it, but I mean, it is arguably the best birthday.
I mean, everybody's off. Everybody's in a party mode.
Right.
So you grew up one sister. What were you like? You said you were doing a lot of stuff. You were.
Oh, so we grew up in Newark, and on a little cul-de-sac, and then just across the street from us was a big housing development, and we ran wild. If we weren't riding bikes and ding dong ditching, we were, playing wiffle ball or football. And woven through those neighborhoods was a creek. So, I mean, catching crawdads and tadpoles and, you name it. We were outside.
So the ding dong ditching.
Oh, dude.
I didn't learn about that till my kids were.
Really?
I mean, I don't remember us going, like, rolling around and just like.
I mean, there's nothing better.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we kind of did it on, like, a individual basis, but it wasn't like when we were in Texas. That was like parents would take their kids to do it. And I thought, like, TPing houses, and it got into some crazy stuff. I mean, we did the TPing, like the that kind of stuff, but like the ding dong ditching. I felt like I'm a little bit older than you. I felt like if you got caught, it was not a good thing.
I mean, we were chased multiple times in vehicles, and you just had to ride your bike fast.
Yeah, I remember
slowest person gets caught, right?
But ding dong dishing is fun. I can't lie. I did like taking the kids to, like, Walmart and buying, like, rolls of toilet paper, and then toilet paper at someone's house, and then
that was actually our senior prank. So Newark High School used to be a completely open campus, and we went in and toilet papered the entire campus. We had like 1,000 rolls of toilet paper. It was a lot of fun.
So you said your sister's a little bit younger than you, 3 years younger.
3 years younger,
so
yeah.
Pretty close to her then, it seems like?
Now, yes. Growing up, obviously, it was big brother, little sister, a lot of fighting and on each other's nerves, but we're very close now.
Play any sports growing up?
I did. I played baseball and soccer, and then continued soccer through high school.
I think we had to talk trash a little bit here because we did our high school to beat your high school today.
Okay.
The state.
Yeah. The
district semifinals.
Regional.
That's right. Regional today. Yeah. So Final Four.
Yeah. So Olentangy Orange going on to the Final Four, and Newark hit the end of the road. But
yeah, it's funny when you're out. Like all my kids are out of it, but you still kind of find yourself. And I'm not a huge should I say it on camera? No, I'm not a huge fan of the program itself, but I'm happy for the kids that are doing it.
I mean, that's what it's
a great
about.
experience to be able to continue to see these guys in a program that moves through. Like I can remember those days of like right now, how excited my kids were to.
Yeah.
But we were talking before. The other thing about it is, both my oldest and my youngest son lost the state finals.
Yeah.
But still, the experience of all the way leading up to it, I hope the kids can feel that too, because there's a lot of the pressure of even today, you make it to the final, 8 teams in the state of Ohio at Division I or whatever. They're all the same, all the divisions right now. It's that's a pretty big deal. It's a good opportunity to play in a nicer field than probably you play every day.
Definitely.
All the fans and I just wish everybody good luck and
I wish more fans showed up to high school sports. Yeah. I really do. Football always draws a big crowd, but any other sport, you're talking 20 people. And I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. I don't know why every school doesn't say that students get in free. Why make a kid go beg their parents for $6 or $7 and then concession stand money? Right.
Yeah.
I remember playing soccer at Newark, and we had decent crowds, but I specifically remember a playoff game, and outside of basketball and football, I don't think any other sport can every basketball and football have good student sections and they have good fans, but I remember the playoff game where all of the students were there, and we played lights out.
Yeah.
And we got to feel hey, we're doing it, right? And
let's feel like you're cool.
Yeah. They came to watch us, and why wouldn't every student be able to go to whatever game they wanted to for free? Yeah,
I think a lot of it comes down to I can only speak for I guess I was shocked in Ohio is the pay to play. That's so I was actually shocked. I'm kind of fortunate here in Olentangy that the pay to play is pretty low. If you start some of these other programs in Ohio, it costs a lot of money to play these sports, which is mind boggling. But it ultimately comes down to what it's got. I'm with you, but it all ultimately comes down to you're a parent and you go to the field and you're not happy. You come to Olentangy Field, you see Olentangy, Georgia, you see or Liberty, you see
nice things.
The place it's got AstroTurf, it's got all this kind of stuff. What they don't realize is all the fundraising goes into, and you got to pay for that. The schools aren't paying for that, so you've got to figure out how to do that. And it's kind of a counterbalance of now that you've got 100%. These facilities have gotten that's my crazy things. I thought the craziest thing I've seen is Texas football. If you go to a high school football,
it's a college game.
Yeah, it is nicer than any we were in the Mansfield School District, and you looked at this and it was unbelievable. The stadium it had was unreal. It looked like a Division II stadium. You know what I mean?
That's insane.
But so that costs how many millions to build that? So how do you get your money back? You got to start. There is you got to somehow get in there. Gone are the days of we played baseball where you had the collapsible outfield thing that they took up in the wintertime and took down. Parents today be my son can't play, my daughter can't play there, what I mean? And I was guilty of it too, because you go to see some of these places and you're where we play is a shithole,
gonna break
and it all has a cost to it, what I mean? And but ultimately it's I'm fortunate that all 3 of my sons played college sports, and I think that's not normal, but and I get it, but that's secondary to what is really important to us. It was always get through, you got to get through college. That's just, that's just icing on the cake of what you're doing.
Right.
And now the reality of it is there was days I thought like it'd be great to have a son that, was, doing this, whatever. But like you start to learn pretty quickly that it's like, yeah, my son's not doing that. He may get $8,000, $15,000 to do this in college, but it ends just like we're talking about the military service. Yeah. So like, what are we trying to do with these schools? Where are we teaching them teamwork? Or are we, it's a delicate balance where like, I see a lot of focus on school sports more than I see focus on curriculum, all these other things that are happening. And I don't know, it ties into what you talked about with the phone, but it starts to really look at like, okay, what are we doing here? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's almost like in today's world, a successful sports team looks better on a school than something, than anything else. Like,
dude, it's the truth. Like if you were to talk about today, we're making jokes about it. Like it's cool to see that happening, but like some school with robotic division could have just won, the Ohio State, regional, the Ohio State thing for robot building and stuff. And you're like,
wow.
Yeah. I think that's a problem. I mean, like those kids that are doing that, they're probably not all, it's like anything else, but like, building a robot to win these championships, is that more important than being able to throw a fastball?
Let's see, is it Cardell Jones, the famous quote, "I ain't come here to play school."
But I mean, it's a part of it, but it's a true thing. You're right though. People wonder why it cost. I mean, so to go to a football game,
right,
for your family, what does that cost?
Probably, I think it's like $10 for an adult now, and maybe $5 or $6 for a kid.
Yeah, I mean, students. I think Old Tangi still like a student and faculty can get in for free, but still, let's say $20.
Yeah. Not counting, obviously if you bring a kid, you're spending 20 or 30 at concession stand.
Yeah. I just can't imagine like when I was growing up that like people like my dad never showed up anyways. So let alone like if you had to pay $5 to watch us play shitty sport. That's the thing too, is it's like, I mean, and it's not even that like, I get it when you get to the state level, like when you're renting out like the regionals, what we're doing now, but like, we're talking about like your home field, you're charging people. And it's like, in JV too, they charge like it's like okay, But I mean, it bleeds down to we're giving we're shitting on high schools, but it's the same thing with travel baseball. I don't know if you have any kids in that yet. Like that's nuts too. Like you pay.
That's like almost worse.
$3,000 to be on the team at minimal. Then you go to this tournament and then you got to spend the night, overnight, whatever. Then you're at the tournament and they still charge you admission to it. And then they're trying to tell you can't bring in like your own water, your own kind of stuff. It's like, dude, this is like, again, it goes back to what I was talking about in the reserves. I'm just pissed that I didn't think of that years ago and I'm not using that business model. But,
why am I not?
No, but it's a reality of a thing. It's like, we just cleaned out our garage last weekend. Right. And there's all these baseball bags and like, they're just all over the place. And my son lines these up. Like, we're like, are any of these any good? Like, can we keep any of these? Right. And so you just start looking at them and like, when he lines them all up and I'm like, I'm smart enough to go like, holy shit, that is literally like, that's a $400. There is like 5 $400 bats right there. I'm just like,
right. What are we doing?
And now we're just putting them away into some tub with some hopes that like, what are we gonna do with it? But I'm just like, a $400 bat.
Put $20 on at the garage though.
Yeah, but it's an interesting thing that's going on. It is I'm not saying it's not a shitty thing because I have it that like I didn't force any of my kids to play sports.
That's huge.
They wanted to play. I'm going to support them and do that. I know that playing in these sports taught a lot of things that life throws at you. Team sports, winning, losing, all the things that go with any sport you're playing. If you go to a certain level, I think that's key. And I knew where they were at most of the time, which is good. So that part of it is good. Right. But like when I really think about like dollars and cents, I'm like, and I love being out of the game though. So when I look at him over there nodding his head at me about like I'm still in the sports. Anybody that's still with travel sports this summer, I just laughed. So I'm like, one parent's going here, one's going there, the hotels, I'm like,
it's crazy.
Thank God I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, we stopped at one kid. Yeah. So whatever she decides to get into, she turned 6 in November, but we won't have to divide and conquer. So
that's a good thing, actually.
Yeah.
So let's get back to growing up. I mean, what you said that, let's talk more about that. Why do you think growing up in your bio, you'd mentioned that you think that was a unique time? What was so unique about it to you? These two different
Man, it forced us to be friends with the kids around us, and it didn't matter if, today I'm not good friends with the same kids that I was when I was younger, because we went different paths and maybe have different views now or whatever. But when we were kids, none of that mattered. We were I just wanted to go outside. Let's go do whatever, and we had fun doing it. And there was no social media. There was no, you couldn't hide behind anything. If we were talking, it was face to face.
Yeah. I like how you said that, though. I don't know if it was like we became friends, though, but you had to get along with everybody.
Yeah.
Because you were, that's an interesting thing. I feel like that today's the phone and all these things we're doing, we can isolate ourselves pretty quickly. I don't feel like there was much isolation back then. You kind of had to get along with somebody or work out your differences, which I think were important.
Yeah. And we did, like, there was plenty of people that, didn't get along the best all the time.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there was no issues. And the isolation part, like we would draw kids out. Mm-hmm. Like, no, we only have 4, or we only have 5 kids. We need 6 to play whatever. Like, go, hey, he's still in the house. Go get him.
Start randomly knocking on doors.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you home? Let's go.
We don't care. We need one more person. Just get him.
Exactly.
But I think the working, like getting to know people and then working out just working out. Yeah, being around people you really didn't want to be around, which I think is important too. That's a lost skill, I think, of that we're missing there.
Yeah, and as I got older, I bought my first house and we're in a neighborhood, and I think the neighborhood I grew up in, I knew everybody, first name basis, and I lived in a house for 8 years and I knew 4 people. It's not the same.
Yeah.
You didn't, I remember running like 2 eggs or a cup of milk over to the neighbor because she called my mom and asked if she had it, and now people would much rather, instead of finding out who your neighbor is and getting a phone number or a contact, I'll just run to Kroger.
Yeah. I think, the neighbor, it's interesting because I've lived here 12 years now, and I think I know maybe the 3 of the couples that are around here. I mean, one of them I know because I don't want to know. I talked about that before, but yeah, there's I just saw yesterday, this early in the week, I was, watering the plants out there, and one of the local kids, he was, coming out of the house across the street, and we've been here long enough to see them guys being grown. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I started talking to them, and it's like it's like they almost run want to run away from me. And I'm like, dude, I'm just saying hello. Like, there's something to be said about that. I get it, but I'm also like, I want it to be more of like, hey man, if I'm a safe dude, like if there's a problem, come see me. Whatever. But it was like he didn't even know what to do. And then finally he started walking away, and I just kept I'm kind of I could pester people about talking to people, but I just kept asking questions, and then he came over and started talking because I finally said because he was just giving me yes, no answers. I was like, oh, you're going to go there for a vacation? And he actually started walking back. Said, oh, we're going to go here. I'm like, cool, have a good time, whatever. But that initial, I think a lot of it in today's world is it's just not happening, right? Like, people aren't communicating. Like, I was just coming out of Kroger.
That's it.
Last week or so, and I was talking to one of the guys I'm working with through Save a Warrior, and there's a grandmother came out with, I'm assuming her daughter or daughter-in-law and their grandson. And they kind of came out of Kroger together, and they were separating, and she was going to the car, and she says, I love you. Like, I love you guys. See ya. And the grandson, I'm assuming the grandson they don't say anything. They just kind of and I go, oh, I love you too. And the boy is probably 4 or 5 years old. I'm like, I'm like, dude, that's your grandmother. Right. Say I love you. I'm right. And he's like, I love you, Grandma. You know what I mean? And then the daughter's like, I love you too. And the guy on the phone is like, what are you doing? I'm like, I just felt
trying to save humanity here.
She was going to walk away and not say that. And I'm like, and I got like, I can get dark about it, but I'm like, dude, at that age, like at 5 years old, whatever, he's like, he should say goodbye and I love you to my grandmother. You know, because and she actually walked away when we got far enough. She said, "Thank you for doing that. Thank you very much." I'm like, "You're welcome." And I just like, I love you too. But but it's all. But that's what I'm saying is like in today's world, like they don't even want to talk to kids, and I don't know if that's it's you know I'm always juggling whether that's a good or bad thing, and I always fall on the side of it's really not a good thing. You know what I mean? Like to be able to like walk down the street and say hello to people and he's the perfect example. My dad's, you know, the only reason he's not looking at the phone is because the Yankees already won today, but it's but they did actually. They already won. No, they didn't. They had a day game. They won. Check your phone. Get your phone. But it's a reality of the thing. That's where everybody's at now, and I don't know what that. You know, I continue to be like, what is the real benefit of that? Yeah,
and you know, maybe I don't know if like homes are less affectionate now, because I was raised, and my sister and I were raised in a very affectionate home. You know, I don't know a time that I never hugged my mom and dad goodbye and said that I loved you. And you know, the last words that my dad would say to me when I walked out the house was, "Remember who you represent."
No pressure, buddy.
Yeah, and
which is code word, don't fuck up and don't embarrass me.
Exactly.
Because when I come home, I'm gonna hit you.
But that's stuck with me. And you know, the thought of my daughter not saying I love you to my parents or even my wife's parents, it wouldn't happen. Yeah, and I realize that every family has like there's a dynamic that we're not talking about. I get it, but I'm just saying in general of like the whole. I've always been. It even takes it down to I love you. Like a basic principle is like when my kids were growing up, my boys, and if an adult said something to them, like even at a restaurant, like, "Hey, how are you?" My kids were expected to respond, like, 100%. "Yeah, we're doing okay." Like now today, to a quick parents go like, "Oh, you know, he or she's not comfortable talking to people. It's okay." Like, and I just start to be like, man, I don't know if I don't know if I'm buying into this because it's just like it continues to get into a thing of like, I get it, like not saying, you know, there's the affection part is different in each family, but like I'm the exact opposite. Like, I mean, I you know, you just saw me and him hug earlier, right? Like I give him a bunch of shit, but I'm also like, we're very affectionate. Like I make sure I say goodbye. You know, I say I love him to him. And when he leaves the house, I make sure that the boys say, because he's, you know, he's getting older. Like you don't know, but more importantly, it's like, you know, it's simple stuff. Like we do stupid, like the guy, they're men. My boys are men, right? But it's like, get up and give your grandfather a hug. Don't like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like but I think it comes from a lot from us, you know, making that a point. Like my boys hate it. Like if my boys come here, I'll give them hugs. I'll hug on them like 3 or 4, 5, you know, 5 times a night. Get off me. Yeah. But I just know what that, I think that's important to start with, but the whole, you know, talking and being, so I just feel I'm getting old, Ray. Yeah, I'm getting old. But no, I think that's an important thing. I just think it's something we're missing, and I think it's a connection that, like I tell that story about that. I want to tell a story about that lady because I don't. What impact did that have on her? Right. As a grandmother, like I gotta be. If I'm being honest, like if I say something to someone or tell them how I feel and they don't respond. It makes you feel, it makes you feel like shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, you know, it was funny. One of those things. My wife hates that I do that, but it's who I am, and it's the icebreaker. Shit. Yeah, it's fun. Nothing happens, man. I get in trouble. You know, the kid down the street's like, don't go by him when he's walking in the house. He'll ask you 100 questions. That guy never shuts up. Because I'm hoping he'd come over here and it's like, hey, you want to help me water this lawn? Yeah, get over here, buddy. Yeah, right. I'll give you $5. You know? Go grab that stuff. Yeah. I need some child workers because mine are all grown up. I was just telling my mom and dad, they were talking about doing some raised beds. And I was like, you know what you need is a couple 15-year-old boys. Dude, just give them $100 and let them go. Ray Chad said that. But yeah, I think that's my hardest part about being an empty nester now is like, now I don't have any support. Like I go out. You don't have any cheap labor. Oh, dude, free labor. Yeah. But not literally free because I had the people like, it's just like, right. I will say my one son does the mulching, but my wife paid him this year, which I'm not really happy about. But he's still getting an allowance as an adult. but there's something to be said to go out and be like,
and they're holding up. Like it just happened this weekend. I love how where this podcast goes sometimes. The moisture in my dryer duct, so it got so I'm trying to get that out.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do it one more time. So when one son comes over, I'm like, hey, I just need your help for 10 minutes. He's like, after 10 minutes, I'm leaving. And I'm like, it's only gonna take 10 minutes. He's like, nothing ever takes 10 minutes. And he literally was out there and he's like, I gotta go. Like he literally left me out there. I'm like, and so that it literally turned into us doing that, right? Which was gonna be like 15 minutes really, to that, into us like cleaning out the garage, doing all that kind of stuff. So I call him, it's like 6:30 at night. I'm like, we just finished the 10-minute job. He's like, that's why I had to get out of there.
That's why I left.
But so I do empty nesting, having free labor.
Yeah.
Because everything just takes, it's easier to say, hey guys, I need you for like an hour. And
right.
You know, but I did miss them for that.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully I have grandkids soon. I'll get to put them to work.
There you go.
But so growing up, good luck, playing some sports. When did you what made you decide to enlist in the Guard?
So
I know you have some history with
so my grandparents. Both of my grandfathers served. My grandpa Lindner, my dad's dad, was in the Navy, and then my grandpa Smith, my mom's dad, was in the Army. And so when they found out that I wanted to enlist, they sat me down, and I was told that I either had to join the Navy or the Air Force because they take the best care of their people. Obviously times have changed, but from their experience, my grandpa always talked about the sloppy scrambled eggs that he got in Vietnam. And, so I ultimately chose the Air National Guard. I chose the Guard because, and I didn't put this in the bio, but a friend of my dad's ended up being the command chief master sergeant at Rickenbacker. But he was in the Security Forces unit when I was thinking about getting in. And he, just known me my entire life. And he's like, man, with your personality, you would fit right in. He's like, this is where, if you want to join, this is the job you need to do. And I'm glad I went that route. I loved it. So that's what ultimately made me pick the Air National Guard and Security Forces. So
as a senior, I know when I was a senior in high school, I thought I knew it all. I still think I know it all sometimes, but I probably, if somebody had told me I should join the Air Force or the Navy, I would have did the exact opposite. So what made you so aware of, your two grandparents talking about it? What made you really listen to what they were telling rather than being like, oh, my dad doesn't want me to join the Marine Corps, I'm joining the Marine Corps?
Yeah. Because I valued their outlook. They're both, my grandpa Smith passed away in 2018. He had cancer from Agent Orange, and he's one of the most influential men in my life. Sorry. And then my grandpa Lindner, seeing, how him and my grandma raised my dad, and the man that he was, I whatever they said was gold to me. And then once I'd made my decision to pick the Air Force, Eric Wallace is my dad's buddy's name. I took his advice and it worked out. So yeah, I didn't want to, I never once thought about, rebelling, so to speak. But yeah, those guys, whatever they had to say, I was all ears.
Yeah, that's interesting. You think it would have been different if it was dad other than grandparents?
No, I don't think so. Well, maybe it would have been, but it wouldn't have been because I didn't value my dad's opinion. He didn't serve.
Yeah.
So I knew that their advice was coming from a place of experience.
Which is pretty mature even for a senior, because I still would have been like, yeah, I'm going to do what I want to do. So you joined the. What made you decide to do security forces? Just was that just one of the options with the?
It was an option, and then Eric Wallace being in the unit and knowing a lot of the guys and kind of what they got in, what they were getting into and doing. He figured that I would fit right in. So I without hesitation dove in, and I actually. This is a funny story. I failed my senior English class and had to take summer school. I speak decent English, but I don't like reading and writing.
English is your second language.
I don't like reading and writing. And I never have.
I speak a bit about it. I don't like writing it or reading it.
But
you went to Newark. It's okay.
I mean, I did go to Newark. I think, okay. Yeah, we'll end it there. But no, so I failed my English class. I'm supposed to leave for basic in June, and that gets pushed back. I had my commander writing letters to the school, trying to figure out like, hey, what can we do? He's got a ship date, blah blah blah, and they wouldn't budge. So I go to summer school. So if there's any kids listening, just do your damn homework. But go to summer school, get through that. I end up leaving in October. And I guess it worked out because my wife and I had just, at the time, we had just started dating maybe like a quarter of the way through my senior year. So me not leaving so soon gave us the summer together. And, here we are 17 years later, we're still together, but
maybe you can't read and write.
Yeah. Luckily she picked the dumb one in the class, but yeah, so I end up leaving in October. And another silver lining to that was I wasn't in San Antonio, Texas in the middle of the summer.
Yeah. Things are just working out well.
Yeah, right.
Like in San Antonio in the summertime is brutal.
Dude. Yeah, I wouldn't know. I was there in October.
Yeah, somebody asked me how much I miss Texas, and I was like, man, I miss it, but like I do not miss the heat. It's like so freaking hot.
Now I was there. I was at Fort Bliss. Well, that would have been in September. It was hot down there in September.
Yeah, it's always like I was in a project one time with my old job, and we were at Fort Hood. And the soldier asked my German colleague asked the soldier, like, when it was this middle of something, like, when will it cool down?
Yeah.
And it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. And the dude looked at his watch and he was like, October. And he's like, no. When will it cool down today? He's like, October. And he was so thrown off by that stuff. I was like, I've never forgot that. It's like, just the way he looked at his watch was just classic. Like, yeah, it's going to be hot all the time.
That's so funny.
And it's cold for like 2 months and it's hot again.
Right. Yeah, it's different down there. So I was pumped, to be there outside of the death months. Actually, I don't think we ever had a black flag on the base.
Yeah. Gets hot down there.
Yeah. So went through it was 6.5 weeks of basic back then. I think it's 8 now. But you're allowed to have your phones, I heard, which I think is BS.
I think it's changed. Times have changed.
Yeah, it was. I think they should have to try and sneak into the locker and dig them out like we did.
Or you just not even have them like we did. But, we didn't even know what a cell phone was. I was thinking about that today, too. I think I was sitting yesterday, like, I was thinking about how, like, I love when at lunchtime we always talk about, like, when something happens, like, how quick, like, you had to think something out. Like, how do you figure, like who's the all-time RBI leader? You had to like think about it. Now you just like you just got to get it so fast. And I was like, there's a part I miss that. Like, dude. I do miss the time of you like sitting there and being like, let's figure this out before we do it. But now like the information, like, when I was reading your, I think what got me to think about it is like a lot of times when I read you guys' bio during the week and just think about it, I'm like, man, like the phone is so practical, but like how you used to not be able to know these things. Like, right. You used to not be able to, like, how hard it was to figure out who the top 25 all-time RBI leaders in Major League Baseball. Dude, it could take you all day to figure that out. And you'd have to, like, I don't even know how we figured that out. Like, I mean, it's like, you probably have to go to like an encyclopedia or something crazy like that. But it was like, now you can, like, all this information is like, like,
find it in a newspaper.
Yeah, it's on your. We do that at work. That we'll say something like, somebody will pull it up, and then, we don't just like read the list. We try to figure it out, which is fun to do.
Yeah, and I was on the phone with my grandpa Lindner the other day, and this exact conversation came up because if someone, if we're all sitting around and someone asks a question, it's not 2 seconds of pondering before someone is, what is it?
Yeah.
Let me find it out. Maybe someone in the group already knew the answer.
Yeah.
And the conversation could have kept going. But then, most of the time it's like, oh, it was this. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because there's a guy at work, like, he's like, we talk a lot about sports, which is kind of like our go-to thing. It's about the only time I really talk about sports anymore, but he is really good at it. Like, so like if you bring up something like obscure thing, like it's always great to watch him because he'll put his mind to it where everybody else wants to look at it. He is like, and he'll hit some stuff. You're like, holy shit. Like, he's like 44, I think, or so. I'm like, holy God, I'm impressed. I'm like,
yeah,
he's pulling up some, like, some cool stuff, you know what I mean? But yeah, and I don't know what it is either. It's like, I think it's, since, one of your topics was talking about the phone, we can continue to talk about this, but like, I think there's two parts of it for me. Is like, number one, it just gets really easy not to like make your brain work and think about these things. And then the other part about it is to look good. I think a lot of people want to jump on the stuff and like get the answers and look at me. I know this kind of stuff. I'm like, dude, I have a work phone and a personal phone, a computer. I can look on that and get the list first. But sometimes it's more to be, I just think that's something in your brain that like, that we're missing. Like that it's good. Don't get me wrong. Like, my one son's CRV trunk 2012 is not opening, right? That's really great that I can Google that.
100%.
But do I really need that to figure out?
Well, and how much of the information that you just looked up, you only know the surface level of it.
Yeah. Right.
Like, yeah, you found the answer. You answered my question. Thank you. But we can't have a conversation about it.
Yeah. I just want to, I mean, it is a great resource. It's like when you think about how hard it was to figure stuff out. And then, like, do you have to be an expert at anything anymore? Just like,
Nope.
And there's other things that are coming out that it's different. It just makes it I just like those conversations when you're trying to figure something out, like who's the actor that was in this. So I think it's good for your brain just to work through to figure out.
Yeah. And I'm just as guilty of all of this that we're talking about. I mean, and that's part of the reason. Yeah. That's part of the reason why I put it in the bio, because it's something that I struggle with every day. And I know everyone else does too, but there may just not be enough people talking about it. If I never talked about it, then there would be no change.
Yeah. I was like, my wife had a procedure today. So I'm reading a book that is not in like, it's not on Kindle. It's not on Audible. It's like, you can't get the audio version of the book. So this book is like old school. And I was looking at today, I just noticed it was like $7.99 when I bought it. I'm like, you can't even get a book for $7.99 hardback $7.99. And I'm reading it. So there's like, as I'm reading it, there's some stuff in there that I'm trying to get some quotes. So I'm like, I felt bad that my wife's down getting a procedure and I'm in there and I'm like, have this big old, hardback book and I'm like writing these notes or something. And I'm thinking, I know people are looking at me like, why doesn't this guy just like have the audio book? He can highlight the stuff, bring it over. And there's a part of me that was like, God, I wish it was these two, because here I'm writing it would be so much easier with this book to be able to do that. But I'm like, to me, it's more important to have, yes, like Ray Chad said, I'm old, but I just feel like it's a way to, that's the way my brain works, to be able to like process that stuff. But I'm like, I'm thinking to myself as I'm doing this, like this people are like, look at this old dude. If you had
this Neanderthal,
if you had a Kindle, he could just highlight that, drop it over, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh God, I could probably Google page 106 of the book and it comes up and I'm like, whatever.
But like if I read something and I highlight it, it doesn't mean anything to me. If I read it and write it down, then it's going to stick better.
Yeah.
But I can't read and write.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm doing that. I was going to go to that too. I'm glad you said that.
I learned how to after high school. Obviously, Newark didn't do me any favors.
So we'll keep rolling along. So you head down to Lackland, come back home. you signed to here in Rickenbacker.
Mm-hmm.
What's civilian jobs looking at that point? You know, you've come back now. You've done that. Now you've done your military training. Like what are you focusing on when you come back initially?
Really just kind of getting reestablished back home, because I was gone. That would have been the first time that I'd left home for that long. So get back home, obviously got to find a job, whether it was, I think when I got back from basic, I think I went back to Subway because that was my buddy's dad owned a franchise around Central Ohio. And if I ever needed a job, I knew I could get one. I worked for him in high school. So I went back there. I think we had just moved. And so we moved in 2008, right when the recession happened. So, I got back from basic and tech, and we were there for about another year. And then I think we closed on the new house, and my dad lost his job all within like a 6-month period. And I seeing my mom and dad kind of come together and get us through that was unreal. And as at the time, me and my sister didn't really know what was going on. They didn't make it seem like, shit had hit the fan, which is pretty cool. Kudos to them. So after that, let's see, I think I went from there to 64 medals. So my dad was an architect for a company in Columbus, and when he got let go, he ended up at 64 medals in St. Louisville, Ohio. Is a small like pole barn, roll form sheet metal manufacturer, and he drew for them in the office, and I got a job as a delivery driver. So that was kind of cool. While I was still living at home, I carpooled to work with him, and we had a lot of fun up there. After that, let's see, that was 2010, I think. So shortly after that was Afghanistan. And all through this, I tried college in this period also. I went up to, I tried.
Your face was great. You're like, I tried it. I don't want to talk about that, but I tried it. This was cool. I met a lot of great people that I'm still really good friends with through this experience, but I went up to the Ohio Agricultural Technical Institute in Worcester, ATI. And there I learned that if you wanted to get into beef or sheep farming and didn't have a family to pass a farm down to, you might as well not. So I did a semester up there, and then that was it. But it was a great experience. I enjoyed it, working on the farm, in the middle of winter, doing calf checks and the middle of the night. And so it was a good experience, but definitely not the kind of debt that I was wanting to take on as a 20-year-old. So came back home, and right after that was Afghanistan. So we got orders to replace an active duty unit at Bagram Airfield. And there was actually too many of our airmen wanted to go. So thankfully I got in before the cutoff, and because I wanted to, all joking aside, as a reservist or a guardsman, if the only thing I did was stateside, I would have felt like the 6 years were for nothing. And that's just me, right? Other people may feel different, but I would have felt like it, I didn't really do anything. So at least I can say I got to go on a deployment. I got to spend 6 months in Afghanistan. Now, thankfully, it was a very mild deployment.
What's crazy about Afghanistan though is the weather is just like Ohio. And I didn't know that. We get there in October and it's warm, and then in December we were building snowmen. But I worked the Echo sector, which was the flight line security. So started off just working gates and checking IDs, and that's like the worst job that you could have. But I build some respect and with our commander, and got placed on a mobile with a guy from Jacksonville, Jacksonville, Florida. They live in Tampa. Josh Lely. We were roommates, and we just became brothers. We had the same days off. And when you're going through something like that, the people that you spend the most time with, you build a bond that's never going to be broken. Excuse me, pretty mild deployment. Just some, random indirect fire. But about 3 or 4 months in, the prison on base was ran by the Army. We found out that they confiscated all the Qurans and threw them in the burn pit because the inmates were writing messages back and forth to each other in the books. And of course, local nationals worked the burn pit and are watching American soldiers throw their holy book in the fire. So pissed, rightfully so. But that started a riot. And the local nationals on base. So if anyone doesn't know what Bagram's like, it's a city. There's 30,000 people on this base. There's a downtown called Disney with all the shops and stuff that you can go walk around and just you don't feel like you're at a fob because it's not. It's a city. But the locals, they cooked for us, they cleaned for us, they washed our clothes, they worked all the shops, worked the PX, until they found out we burned all their Bibles. So we kick them all off because they're all mad. And for about 2 or 3 weeks, there were, I think, 2,500 people outside of the pedestrian gate and about 1,000 people outside of the vehicle gate trying to get in. The locals were saying that they would stop. They would pull the rioters back if we gave them the soldier that threw the Qurans in the fire. And obviously that guy had been long gone. They got him out of there immediately. But that was the closest to combat I think I actually felt, because we went into 7-0s, no days off. And on your day off, you were a QRF. So up armored Humvee. I was the driver. I was the lowest ranking. Had our leader and then gunner. And I'll never forget one day, and most of the time nothing happened. I think the pedestrian gate was like a mile long, and there were 3 or 4 towers before you actually got onto the base. And when all these riots happened, they gave them those like 2 or 3 towers, just like fall back. Everyone's going to be here. No one's going to be out exposed in that little finger. But other than that, it was like, rocks coming over the gate and stuff like that. Like nobody was shooting or anything. So we get a call. They request a QRF at the main gate. There's been a breach. And we're like, here we go. It's rock and roll now. And thankfully we were close. We come flying around the corner. There's a bunch of MRAPs kind of like parked at 45s with their 50s pointing at the gate. And we see the line of riot shields and everything. Like there wasn't any activity. Like it wasn't, I don't think it was a breach. I think that like there was some miscommunication a little bit, but we get out, like we come flying out of the Hummer, and we were looking for a captain, and I forget his name now. And I see a captain. I'm like, hey, are you Captain so-and-so? And he's like, who the hell are you? And we're like, we got a call that you guys needed. And he's just like, whatever, here's a riot shield, go get in line. So now we're not a QRF anymore. we're posted up in line at this gate for about a half an hour, and then someone figures out that they screwed up, and you know, and I joke and I laugh, and like at the time it was the most serious thing that I had ever done.
Yeah,
but I'm grateful that
nothing happened.
Right, I am. I'm thankful that it was a mild deployment. I'm obviously grateful to come home and not have to fight demons in my head like so many guys that I know.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of people would be, you know, that at the end of it, just to be wouldn't add that part about like thankfully nothing happened.
Yeah,
because a lot of people are like, I wish this. Like, yeah, no, that's not.
No.
Yeah, when things went, you know, could go bad, I'm glad they never went bad. I'm with you on that. So, yeah. But yeah, that heightened sense it can happen very quickly there, and that's interesting. But yeah, I never made my way to Bagram. I just remember hearing about how great it was, about all the extra chow halls and all the kind of stuff. I'd be like, oh my god,
it is an air base. The food was good.
Yeah. Well, I was in Kandahar Air Force Base. It was not the same at the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it was not the same.
Surf and turf every Friday.
Yeah, I remember it every week. Go up there. Like one of my soldiers went up there and he came back. He was like, "Oh my god, you can go to the DFACs and you can go to all of them. They don't care," because we were like, you'd have to get checked into ours because we had limited food. It was like you can only go on once a day, like one meal. They're like, "No, you can just go to all of them." And I'm like, "Oh my god,
dude!" I swear, it felt like people just hung out in our DFACs all day long. Yeah. Because when we were working like gates or whatever, you didn't have a lunchtime. Like whenever someone could come and relieve you to go get food, you went to get food. And so you could be there getting your lunch close to the end of your shift if it was busy or whatever. But I swear to you, all day long.
Yeah, that place was full. Like Ray Chad said, I'm old, so I was there in 03. So everything was run by us. Like the DFAC was like the 82nd. So like it was nobody local nationals running it. So you're dealing with the mess sergeant you had before, and like mess sergeant rules, like you had to be here. But like it was just like it was tough. Like when you hear people would go to Bagram, you're like, the fuck is going on in Bagram? Like, I mean, why is it better? You hear all these stories.
I came home with some sweet fake North Face jackets and Nike shoes.
Our big thing was the Afghani rugs.
Oh yeah. Like, I knew a couple guys that bought like, raw rubies and diamonds and stuff. And then, I never bought any rugs, but I know some people that did.
I kind of regret I didn't get on that chain. I kind of regret it now that I grabbed one.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Like,
oh dude, just
having our big thing there was the Afghani rugs and hash. That took down quite a few people. People were buying hash over there. It's a big deal. Kind of a big deal that nobody talks about in that time frame. But
right.
But it was I was there in a different time than you. I always laugh about when I hear, because I haven't told this story in a while, but like we were in this middle of this battle update brief in Kandahar, and like all of a sudden we started screaming. It was almost reminds me of, and a joke aside, I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit, but it almost reminded me of like the Ben Affleck Pearl Harbor movie where people were just running around screaming. Yeah. And so people were literally screaming. You could hear it. Like we go out and they're like our AP's store was on fire. It was tense. They caught on fire. Yeah. And people were like running to put out this fire. I mean, people were running. Like we thought like the place had been invaded. Like people were running to put out this fire. Sheesh. And so you get over there, everyone's running there to put it out, and the whole thing like burned. These tents burned down in like minutes. You know what I mean? And I'll never forget, there was a soldier just sitting on the side. It was like his head in his hand in his head in his hand. He's like, I'm like, you gonna be okay, right? He's like, where are we gonna get our Doritos? So like, where are we gonna get our food? And I'm like, that's all we had. Connection. I was like, I don't know. I'm like, you just like pat him on the back. Yeah. Like, we'll be okay. But there was like 3 weeks where we didn't have anything. It was like
so much for the morale.
Dude, it was so crazy. People were like, where are we going to get, where am I getting my cheese whiz and Ritz crackers?
Right.
Which you don't realize at the time is like a huge connection to it. I was like, I laughed about it, but it was literally.
My mom sent me a mason jar of apple butter, her homemade apple butter.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find any bread. It didn't matter. I ate it with a spoon.
So Fawad is actually a former guest, but he was actually an interpreter with the U.S. military. And I was hearing from Fawad. He says, welcome to Afghanistan.
But I'll never go back. Yeah.
Me either, Fawad. Me either, brother. I love you.
That's awesome.
It's the truth about it, but it's always interesting to see the differences. So let me ask you a question. You come back, you go to, you talk about Afghanistan, but at that point, you went to tech school, you come back, you're doing kind of some odd and ends jobs, like yeah, on the weekend you're doing something that like has a little bit of purpose. Like,
yes.
Has purpose. And then you're bouncing around some jobs that like, you're not really finding your footing. Was there any thoughts of like going into law enforcement? Like, what were you thinking at that time? Were you feeling a little down on yourself about, am I not finding like my career on the civilian side? What's going on for you at that time frame?
No. So I guess in that time frame, there was almost a year or two that I spent on active orders at Rickenbacker. So I was kind of living the life, right? I was showing up for work every day in uniform. I considered law enforcement a few times, but some of my leadership in the Guard were law enforcement, and they didn't really steer me away from it, but just hearing some of the things that they talked about, it made me less interested.
Yeah.
So
God, you're a dude who like listens to, like he kind of listens to people. It's kind of scary. I mean, you listen to it when you're
I can't read and write, but I'll listen.
Your grandparents are telling you, your grandfathers are telling you not to join the Army, the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Your leadership is, throwing out the vibes, not to be like, you're like really listening. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Kind of
weird. I'm weird, I guess.
No, I mean, I'm joking around, but that's a big thing. Like, yeah, I mean, that's because I mean, that's a normal, it's like, I think 80, I don't know what the percentages of people that are in military special
MP,
forces MP, they're going to become, you're going to be pursuing that kind of.
There's been times where
your civilian and military careers together.
Yeah. There's been times since I've gotten out that I regretted not going that route. I do think I would have enjoyed it. And then there was also several times where I met with a recruiter to potentially get back in under a different MOS or, but the timing was just never right. So I do still long for the environment that the military created. You can't replicate that.
What do you long for in it?
Just when something happens and everyone is like, okay, let's go take care of this together. I'm big on, I don't enjoy doing things by myself a lot. I want to be with a group of friends, peers, whatever, even if it's at work and I may not be friends with these people. If it's a group setting, then I'm let's go. Let's get it done. It's funny. I'm a project manager for a painting company now, and I don't paint, but there are times when I feel awkward standing at a job site checking on the guys because I'm not helping. I'm just telling them, hey, don't forget to do this or make sure this is done. But I feel obligated to go grab a paintbrush and let me help you guys get this done faster.
Well, I'm going to throw this offer to you, like this October when the leaves fall down, you can come. I like doing things alone either. You can come hang out with me. We'll hang out together.
Let's go.
I'm kind of be a little bit bossy, but you can help me get all the leaves up. Sorry, no. I don't know, I'm such an asshole about that, but no, I get it. I mean, I think that the common purpose, I think that's one of the things that people forget in the military is everybody is together. You spend a lot of time with, you spend a lot of time with these guys and gals, and it's just, a lot of stuff, not, sitting around doing nothing sometimes, but that shared common purpose of is important, I think. So for you, you get out in 2012, leaving the Air Force, what was hardest for you? Like losing your identity, like losing the part-time job, like losing your purpose? What really was the hardest part, you'd say, for you leaving the Air Force?
Probably just accepting that it was over. That purpose, that sacrifice of service, right? Even if it was, 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year, it was still something that I longed to contribute, right? So did I miss it like immediately? No. I think there were some things that happened internally that I was ready to walk away. But it didn't take long for me to, I guess it's kind of like leaving a job that you didn't necessarily like, but you enjoyed who you worked with. You're going to miss the people the most. And, I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. I'd agree. I think like you said earlier in the very beginning, it was like, it was the same thing. Like when you grew up, for me, it was like, there's people that I can't lie. There's people that, whatever level I was at, like in my company, I loved them, but then other ones I fucking couldn't stand being around, but they still were mine.
Yeah.
Like we were so all together. So yeah, the common people, like the people that you like shared the same experiences with, that these experiences you talked about, some people can understand them, some people can't, but anybody that was there with you in Afghanistan when that happened, or that you spent the night, whatever nights in Rickenbacker Air Force Base doing, like it just becomes your people. And the sad thing about the military is, and I think I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think about this now more practical. Like there's a guy that just retired that in my job now that I worked with pretty regularly, right? He's out of Michigan. I do miss him. Right. We did like, there's a part of it, but it's almost like, it's like, I'm not compelled. I have his numbers. His probably not reach out to me, but it's different when you leave the military. You're really close, but you spend a lot, like people don't realize you spend a lot of time with these people. And that is hard because all of a sudden now you're with people that, they go back to their homes. Like, you're not spending 14, 15 hours a day with, you're not sharing your whole life with. That was the thing too, is like in the military, I found that like we're sharing our life with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Good, bad, sometimes good, a lot of times bad.
A lot of times bad.
But yeah, like in a normal job, well, like nobody's really talking to you a lot about how their day's going. Like you can work with people and really not know
100%.
anything about them.
Yeah.
And I feel like the military is just a different animal. I think it's the same thing with law enforcement. If you're riding with somebody every day,
you're forced to small talk.
Yeah. You get to know them at a level, and then it's like you lose a part of your family.
Yeah.
And the sad part for me is, like you said before, is like those people move on, if they stay in, they continue to move on, or if you go to different places, it's just not the same.
Right. Yeah.
So what was your deciding factor to get out then?
I think I was just done. I was done with that job, with the leadership, some things that were going on that I didn't necessarily agree with. And I just wanted to change. I think when I first got out, I fully intended to re-enlist. But then, years pass, and then it's like you get the itch again, and I'm going to call up Sergeant Wright, my recruiter, and hey, what's up, man? You guys, what's going on?
We don't need you.
No. Well, and I sat down with him a couple of times, talked about different jobs. And it just, like I said, things just never really lined back up. But yeah, I think I was just ready for a change. So I did my 6 and saluted and walked off.
Yeah, I think it's important. I'm glad you brought up something earlier about, I think it's important to talk about, and because I've seen a lot with, you know, the amount of people I talk to on the podcast, and also is like, just so you know, like 6 years is a huge deal. Thank you for your service.
Appreciate
Whether
it.
you went to Bagram or not, I think a lot of people have this idea of like, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, especially during the 20 years of, you know, on the 20 years of war on 2 fronts. But like, that's a big deal. So thank you for that. I mean, if there's anything in your mind or anybody that's listening of like, you know, if you didn't do this, it doesn't matter. I mean, it still served your country. I still did what a lot of people don't do. And I really thank you for that. Cause it is rough to do that. All those things you're talking about, you know, 6 years is a long time to do. You know, it seemed pretty easy. People are like, yeah, no big deal, but there's a lot that goes into it. So I really, you know, I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of people, you've said a lot of things I don't think a lot of people are comfortable saying. You know what I mean? Like, your deployment to Bagram did not like validate your service to the military. And I mean, I hope you know that.
Yes.
I think you do.
Yeah, thank you.
That's important for people to hear. It's like, you don't have to do this thing. A lot of it is timing, you know, like if you know, I totally think differently now. Like, if you were to rewind me like 10 years ago, I would have been a complete prick about it, right? You know what I mean? But I think the reality is that's a lot of stuff what ties into the mental health struggle that a lot of people don't understand. Like, they don't understand, like, because I couldn't understand how you're a National Guardsman, you never went anywhere, and, you know, you're taking your life. Right? I didn't understand any of that stuff. I didn't get what was going on. You know what I mean? And me, you know, meantime, you know, I was having those struggles, the same struggles of like, oh shit, I you know, I was there, and then I had, you know, friends and other people didn't make it. So that's that, like, the survival, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. We got to get rid of this whole thing of like, what's, you know, what's important. Cause I used to be really shitty about that. You know what I mean? I'd be like, wow, that seems like a pretty, like, how can you struggle about that?
It kind of ties into, you know, the different levels of affection, in the home, right? We were talking about that earlier. You know, everyone's battles are different, right? And it took even sitting in my shoes, not, you know, dealing with PTSD or anything like that, or you know, struggling with I guess what I would consider, you know, severe mental health. There were times where I struggled to understand how someone could do that. Like,
so do you think you struggle with PTS at all?
I don't think so. I have anxiety and you know, imposter syndrome, or, you know, am I doing the right thing? Like, I just think those are things that any dad goes through or man goes through. I don't think I've been through, and I'm being 100% honest, I don't think I've been through anything traumatic enough to quantify a PTSD label, right?
Yeah, I don't like to say PTSD, but PTSD. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I also think, I mean, I only ask that question because I don't think there's I think that's the problem with this whole spectrum we're on, and that's what I'm glad you said that, because there's like, you have some feelings that we're talking about, like, you know, imposter syndrome, or I didn't do enough. Like, you know, when you have what, you know, our generation of, you know, my generation of guys that, like, if I'm being real honest, we were fucking assholes about it. We still can be. I still can be. Parts of me can be about like what people have done, what they haven't done, all this kind of stuff. In the military, the law enforcement, the warrior class, and even in men, we're stacking everything up against each other about who has the nicer house, who has a nicer car, who has the most guns, who has, like, it's a continuous thing that's going on. And at some point, like, for some of us, it gets to be enough. Like, it may be like, I can only take it for a certain amount of time. Like, I was taking a lot of fucking beating on that. There's a lot of stuff I was taking, but inside my head, I was like, man, this is just, I'm not feeling good about myself. I mean, and I was doing a lot of comparing of like, this person has that person has this person, you know, feels this way. They don't seem to be bothered by this, but I'm bothered by it. And I think a lot of that is bullshit because we don't talk about it. Like that you said it earlier about going down there and saying a lot of people are going to not tell the honest story of like, I go down there, I finally got called up to the QRF. Someone's gonna tell me some fucking story about, oh my gosh, I hope to God this was gonna happen. It's my first chance to get to fucking kill somebody.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. But your reality is like, holy shit, I'm so glad nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
I was so scared. I'm so glad nothing happened. No one wants to admit that. And if you were to take 100 people in that group, 100 people of men or anybody, they're gonna fucking have some story about, oh, I just, like I wasn't scared, all that kind of stuff. Come on, man. It's like that. And I think it's like I said before, I think a lot of it comes down to like, there's no, I don't have it anymore that there's like these things have to happen to you for you to suffer or for you to feel like you've had enough and to commit suicide. Cause it just depends on who that individual is. Like I come from a different background. I come from some different things. I have some resiliency and some other things that I don't, and other signs I don't have it in. So like, what is okay for me is okay for me, but it may not be okay for someone else. It may be too much. And that's one of the things that I've as I've gone into the space, I'm like really cognizant of, because that's the unfortunate thing about it, is like, I have literally been that person years ago that saw somebody that committed suicide, like a warrior class suicide. And I'd be like, this fucking guy didn't do anything. What the hell is their problem? And then you start to tie in what's really going on, these things that we don't want to talk about, the childhood trauma that this person was dealing with, hey, I didn't, things in my life weren't going great. Mm-hmm. I didn't deploy. I was comparing myself to these other things. This one thing happened to me that I can't forgive myself for. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, to say that nothing's happened to your life for you to feel that way, I hope you know that it is okay to feel that way. If something has pushed you, anybody, I think it's important to be like, hey, this went past my threshold, and we've got to talk about it.
No, that's a great outlook on that. I don't think I've ever heard someone explain it that way. And the feelings, the feelings or struggles that I personally may be going through, they matter to me. Right. Yeah. And thankfully I think that I'm navigating them appropriately. Maybe not well, but appropriately. Right?
It's as long as I think everybody's like, you're still here, you're talking about them.
Right.
Then I think you're navigating them well. That's how I have it. Is like, those things you're talking about, this took me a long time of like me beating the shit out of myself. And it's the way I look at life now with other people. Is like, that's the thing, is like, I have to stop like comparing other people, comparing myself to other people and then other people to me. Like these things that have happened to people, like I used to just be very if I'm being honest about it, I used to really have a fucking problem with it. I used to be like, this is like, how can you feel this way? But the sad thing is I was feeling the same way.
Yeah.
Right. I was comparing myself to someone else. Like I can do that all day long. I can sit here and say like, if you give me 5 minutes, I can beat the shit out of myself about what I don't have in my life, or that's how I used to be like, this isn't good enough. That isn't good enough. I'm not doing that. I can just go down like a list of what's wrong with Che Miller. You know what I mean? Right. And if I can do that, everybody else is doing the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's, the two things you said like really resonated with me, because a lot of people aren't going to admit, I feel like I've had imposter syndrome, and me too, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I think everyone has.
But no one's going to admit it. Right. Like imposter syndrome, like, oh yeah, I never felt like, okay, dude, whatever. Yeah. But that's the reality of like, that's how we get through the communication that we need to talk about. Like, and then also like the things happen to me. I'm glad they didn't kick off. I had a conversation with a guy like last week about the same thing. That's, in law enforcement, like he's blessed that things didn't happen to him that could have happened. Yeah. But so many people are going to tell you a story that I wish this had happened or that had happened. And a lot of that is just what everybody expects you to say
exactly.
and feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Cause I think as an alpha, like an A-type male, I want to tell the badass story. Right. But I think my badass story is that I came home and I didn't have to go through a bunch.
But I think we're about to get into your badass story. I think is where we got to get into. But That's what I'm saying is like these things that it's all about like looking good. I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Like I spent my life, being right, valid, and justified, looking good, dominating others. That's what I spent my life. And don't get me wrong, it's super successful, right? I've been successful in that, right? And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of the great things that have happened to me because of that. But on the backside of it, is I always felt like I was a fucking fraud. That I was like, that I did not like it. When I dominated someone, I did not like how I felt afterwards because I'd been dominated in other aspects and I didn't like it. I know how I made that person feel. And that's where I started to be like, holy shit, man. Like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? But I'm getting this high off it. I'm getting the high of being right. I'm getting the high of being like the cool kid, all this kind of stuff. Like whatever is going on, there's a high to it that everybody wants to talk about. If there's a high, there's a low, right?
Yep.
If there's an up, there's a down. If there's a left, there's a right. I mean, always. Like, somebody will get all technical that maybe that doesn't work and whatever else, but like there's always a cost to it that I was oblivious to until it almost took my life. Right. Until I was like, all these things I'm doing. Yeah, today I was right, valid, and justified, and I dominated the shit out of my wife and my kid, and none of them want to talk to me. I don't. Right, I'm trying to talk to them right now, and they're mad at me, or justifiably like, wow, I feel really cool. I feel like a man today, and I didn't.
Yeah,
I felt like a child. I felt like somebody that's just like and I think it's important to talk about all those things. And I think one of the things I'm interested to talk about, two things I'm interested to talk about is your life as a father. I think you are really into that. So let's talk about, if you want to, talk about your daughter Scarlett and what that means to you. Cause you did say something and I think people don't, I do read. I'm like you said, I do read. I'm just a joke. I do read what the bios, right? And I don't always put it down, but there's some things I always read about. But like, there's very few people that said my wife and my daughter are my world. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to explain that a little bit. What did you mean by when you wrote that? So because you're the only person that has written it that way. I've had to see people like I'm doing these things for just my last guest, Sean. He's doing all these things for Sam, but nobody's written like they're my world. What does that mean to you?
I'll start with Leah, my wife. So we met in high school, and before we started dating, we had showed up early. We were in choir together, and we had a choir exam. I think I was a senior, she was a junior, and we showed up early. There's a little bit of snow on the ground. I had a lifted F-150 and a couple of my buddies had trucks too. There's like 3 cars in the parking lot, fresh dusting of snow. What do you think we did? We were doing donuts. And we have our fun. We park, we go inside. And I remember walking past Leah and a couple other girls and she was crying. And I was like, well, that's weird. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, can't be that bad. Come to find out, a couple of periods later, I get called to the principal's office, and my other 2 buddies that were in pickup trucks were in there too. And they're like, were you guys doing donuts in the parking lot this morning? Yeah. Well, who was on the right-hand side? Like, oh, that was me. Well, your truck threw a rock through Leah's back window and shattered it in her car. Like, can't prove it, but I was the closest one to her car. So I say that story to say, 4 or 5 months later, her and I kind of through this process, I paid for the window to get replaced, and we started talking some more, and we ended up going on a date. She gave me a piece of glass from that window on our first date, and I had it in my wallet for about 6 years, and it actually cut a hole through my wallet, and I lost it. But she's been a part of my life since high school. I don't know what life is without. I don't know what adult life is without Leah in it. So she has been my world for the last almost 20 years. going to basic training. We had only been dating for a few months. Her parents told her that this relationship wasn't going to last, and she couldn't come watch me graduate. She waited on me while I was in Afghanistan and came home. She put up with me not being ready to get married for like another 9 years. It was almost 9 years. We got married in 2016. I will say that part of that was on her. She hates making decisions, but
you're doing so well till then. You're doing so well. You're doing so well.
I gotta get a little dig in. But no, just her supporting all of my, stupid habits and just being the genuine person that she is. And then blessing me with a beautiful daughter. Back in 2020, when the whole world was falling apart, we brought in a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of joy. I do hope that no one ever has to give birth through a pandemic, because it's an awful experience. But thank God it was a super smooth pregnancy and delivery, and we got a healthy baby girl, and now we get to navigate these new waters together. It's, you're right. I see, I understand the badass story now, because, anyone that says parenting is easy is lying through their teeth.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most trying and rewarding jobs that we'll ever have. I have Scarlett this week by myself. My wife and her mom have been going down to Nashville for the CMA Fest since she was a sophomore in high school. And her birthday is June 7th, and it always falls on her birthday. But as inconvenient as it may seem to be at home by myself with Scarlett, we've had a blast. And it's been just her age right now. She's 5 going on 6. So much fun. So spunky, just sarcastic, talking back now. Not, she's a good kid. And that's part of the reason, selfishly, that we decided to stop at 1, because we got a good one. and now she's like, she's fun.
Just give it 10 years, brother.
Might be like, but she's fun. We're out of the diaper stage, and it's like, all right, do we want to start all over again? And I think we both agreed that it was like, we're good. We're happy. We have a happy family. And I don't know, just I can't explain the feeling of seeing her run up to me every time I see her. I could leave for 5 minutes and come right back, and she's sprinting across the room.
I'm kind of jealous too, because you're still in that stage. It's like, now it's like my youngest came home and he's 21. He's like, the trunk in my car isn't working. Like, just,
right.
That just.
Well, just last night.
Give me I don't feel like I hug. Like, it's just a different.
Yeah. But just last night, I read her story, and she asked me to scratch her back. And mind you, we had just gotten back from my sister's house. We were over there with my parents and her husband. She's expecting in September. So we're kind of helping get some yard work done for her and stuff. So it was a late night. It was like 10:30. I'm finally putting Scarlett to bed, and she's like, "Can you scratch my back for a little bit?" And I didn't want to, but thankfully there's a voice in the back of my head that says, very
Scratch
soon,
her back, yes.
Very soon she will say, "Don't touch me ever again." So I'm trying to hone in on those moments and really, really enjoy them, because it's easy to like, leave me alone. Like, no, not right now.
There's a part of me that, like, I was the same way. There's so many things I found so annoying as a dad, I was like, man, this is like, I can't wait for this to stop. And then he'll kill me. But my youngest son he was the only one that used to come to the bed every night. My dad, it was like clockwork. Like he was coming into the bed every night, and it was just like, kid, another kid comes in there, and it wasn't like he wasn't. I like to make a joke. He was like 15. He wasn't that old. He was 13. But no, but he would come in and like it was, and like now he's back home for the summer. They're probably like the last summer that he's. In this aspect, I think he'll come home and the other boys did, and maybe it's not. It could be, but I find myself like just the other day we're laying in there, my wife and I, he's talking to us like, come jump in the bed, and he's like, I'm not getting in bed with you, mom and dad. I'm like, and there's a part of me that honestly, like, I could give a shit. Like, I think I'm like, I'm cool with it, but like, and he gets so mad because he'll be like, no, that is not right to do that. I'm like, you're probably right. Like if my dad would have been like, get in the bed, but I think those times, like, and everything, it's like, it comes down to what, I wasn't a lot in my life was being present. Right. And I think that's important. Is as a parent or anything, and just in life, is just to be present. There's so many times I look back, and that's one of the things I beat myself about. Is like as my kids started to get older, I realized all these things that I wished away. Like I wish this wouldn't happen. I wish that we get over this. I wish this kind of stuff. And then before you know it, you got to be careful, because once you wish it into being, there's gonna be a point where they don't want to do those things with you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think I'm pretty envious of those times you have.
And I have guys like you that have gone through it, and to thank for that, because it really is, it's amazing to me sometimes when that thought will trigger, like right when I'm about to just lose my cool or turn around and think of something like, hey, no, sorry, I have to go do this. Yeah.
I got to take this call.
Yeah. It's like, hey, it's right here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's being a present in anything. It's like, it's just that whole thing of like those moments, like that you're not going to get, you potentially can't get it back. And it's a lot of it is like, I'm going to say this, I'm going to do this the next time. I'm going to act a different way. Like next time I'm going to be okay. And then like, they may never come again. There's the point of like, it's like any of those things of like the last time he came into the, like, I can't even tell you when that was. I couldn't wait for it to happen, but like, I'm not lying when I think it'd be cool for him just to like plop in there, you know what I mean? And like, let's chat and talk about kind of stuff. I mean, it's, I long for that. I mean, that's the whole thing of, and we wish away all these things so quickly. We wish away, like, I mean, I'm 53 years old. I'm not lying that I'm wishing away that I have to, how many more years I have to work, but but I figure out where I'm at now, and I'm like, holy cow, all these things how my life has changed, all these things that I wasn't really fully present. And I think that's the whole thing of like, be present in the moment who you're with, not just be there, but be present, And
that's part of the reason why I put the screen time on there, because it's a real problem. Yeah, it really is. And my wife and I talk about it frequently. It's so easy to, especially when Scarlett's like, hey, can we watch a movie tonight? Like, absolutely. But then she's watching the movie and I'm sitting on the couch on my phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been guilty of that. I'm better now about that. We used to be,
instead of, I'm going to watch the movie too, and we're going to have a bowl of popcorn between us. And like,
our family's good at that, except for my dad. If I'm being honest with, like, if it has anything to do with the Yankees over there,
he's catching all kinds of strays.
He always gets, like, it's the truth. Like, if we could watch a movie, he'll be on his phone. If the Yankees are playing, he's got to be checking the phone. Like, but it's the truth about. It's the truth about it. It's like, but that's the thing, is like those conversations, like those experiences are huge, and you can create them. Like I have a group of friends that, like, when we're together, like no one has their phone out. Like that's the thing, is like let's get into this whole thing of like all of our wives know where we're at. Everyone knows where we're at. If there's a problem, they all know my wife's number. They can get a hold of. They know how to get a hold. Like we live in this world, like we're so fucking important that we just can't detach from it. And the whole thing of like, all of us have to be the reality of like, hey, I'm going to go lay down. Like I'm going to, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm not going to lie. It's like, I have screen times on my my phones, like my apps, like that's to the point of like alarm, you know, they come and tell me I can't, like some of them get locked out that I can't be on them. And to be honest with you, dude, I sometimes do hit those pretty hard. Like, I mean, I'm getting
so let me,
like, it shouldn't be every day that I'm getting told you've hit your limit of 30 minutes on Facebook.
No, I have them set to, I hit the limits.
Yeah.
How many times do you clear the limit?
I have it through another app. So
okay, so you can't disable it.
But I have changed the parameters so that it benefits me.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with you.
Oh yeah, because I have it set up through my iPhone.
Yeah,
and it's to the point now where like that thing pops up and I don't even think about it. It's just like, yep, that's gone. Yeah, back to what I was doing.
And I mean, and I mean, I can pretend like I'm not gonna pretend like I can say, hey, I can honestly say like a lot of it is looking through like, you know, change stuff. But there's some times where I literally am just like, find myself like I'm gonna go to bed and then like you're scrolling through this. I'm I've just spent 20 minutes an hour like looking at like I don't even know what the hell I can't even remember. Like right now it's all pickleball. Like I mean, and it's like I can't say that my, you know, what it's picking up is like, it's like if you're gonna look at what it's coming across my I mean it's crazy what I got going. I got like Marcus Aurelius. Pickleball, you know, Gatelin, who's some like monkey that like lives with a family. I mean, like it's just crazy shit that's going on. But it's still, it's just not, you know, you're not. Like, and then I'm complaining I'm tired or I can't sleep, and I've been up for an hour. You know, it's kept me on there, and it's a real thing. I mean, I can't lie. I'm guilty of it sometimes too. But like I went to like Opal, which is like you have an app that like it locks you down. Like you can't do it, and it is paid for things. So like if you override it, they still take your money. Yeah. So you're like, but I'm cognizant of like what, like I did say to myself, like, why am I hitting this limit? You know what I mean? And you know, like today, like, I mean, my wife's having a procedure. Like what is like I went in there and like, I look around and everybody's on the phone, right? I'm like reading a book, not that I'm better than anybody, but that's what I could have been doing. I'm like, I gotta like, be cognizant of what's going on, but doom scrolling, the being on the phone, not being present is like, because we're not present when we're present. That's like you said before, like, whoa, you know, the fact that you like go to the movie theater and they have to tell you to turn off your phone. You know what I mean?
You're here to watch a bigger screen than
like, it's like, I don't know. I mean, we're all guilty of it. I wonder where it goes, but let's go back to being married now for 20. You guys have been together for 20 years, right?
We've been dating since 2007 and married since 2016.
Okay, so, you know, you said it was, you know, you implied that it was, you're doing great, that you guys are together. So what are some of the struggles of being married that long?
Man, communication is big. Even before, like, I would say the beginning of a relationship, like Facebook was a thing, but it wasn't as I don't even think Instagram or like any of the other social medias that are occupying our time now were around. And like obviously social media isn't the only thing that is going to strain a relationship, but communication, and we still struggle with communication. I think everyone does.
Me too.
My biggest downfall is, you know, all of the things that I want to be involved in, mainly, you know, American Hero Hunt. And then when I was coaching lacrosse and doing American Hero Hunt, and if Leah listens to this, she'll get a kick out of it. If I don't put it on the calendar, she's going to cut my head off. And I still struggle to remember to put it on the freaking calendar. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't. And to this day, things will pop up. I'm so sorry. We got this event coming up. Can I, you know, and I don't think it would be that big of a deal to leave the house if it was planned out.
Yeah, I love that you say that because it's honestly the truth. Like I used to, like I have it that it's almost like to beg for forgiveness rather than talk about. I'm going to put some, and so I would say that is like your subconscious. Maybe I don't know what's doing it, but like you're not
100%.
Like we don't want to put on the calendar because that means for 2 weeks I got to talk about why I'm deciding to go to this event.
Gosh,
but this is guys like this. So if women are listening, this is how we are like we have to figure that out. Like
I get anxious.
To me, it's like the 2 weeks. I know I'm going to do this on Wednesday, June, whatever. I'm just going to slow roll it. I'm not going to say anything about it. Because I know my wife isn't going to say, like, she's not going to be opposed to it
right.
per se.
But
I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
Because if I wait till the last minute, then I can say like, God damn, Justin, maybe I didn't really want to go to Pennsylvania but Justin, nobody else on the board's going to go. So I'm going to go, but that's just how we communicate. Like, that's like a normal thing. But the people that I've told, like but the communication, it's the same thing. Like, it's like, what's that for me, the 2 weeks out was really uncomfortable for me. And then like the last minute thing was uncomfortable for my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to have to realize like, hey, I got to like
meet in the middle.
I gotta tell her when I know something. I gotta like get the emotion out that she's feeling rather than the end, because at the end of it, ultimately we look like schmucks because we're always like, I meant to do this, or I didn't know that. Like,
and then in their mind, it was like, oh yeah, last minute.
But you're not
just
being your word,
dude.
You're not being your word. You knew about it. How long did you know about it before? You just like be real about why you didn't want to put it on the calendar.
I forgot. If I did forget, right? If I forgot,
what percentage of did you really forget?
With me,
yeah, but
more than not.
I mean, but a lot of it. I mean, I get it. Like, I just think it becomes like why you're not your word. Like all this, like a lot of the stuff becomes of like.
I agree.
You know, I didn't want to talk about these things because it was like I had to. Number one, I like there's a part of me that on some of these things I was doing I didn't want to do. And what I mean from was like there's obligations that come up of like we can talk about it too. You're part of a nonprofit. There's some parts about it like it gets hard to say the president is behind you to say no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's hard. So there's a party that you're not wanting to address that. You know what I mean? You don't want to share that with anybody. So that the best part is to wait till the last minute and say I'm going, and then like the man way is like blame Justin or Chris or Che or somebody else that's going in. And the crazy thing about that's how I lived my life for a long time too. It's like the calendar thing, like if you can put it on a calendar, like don't get me wrong, if I still tell my wife put it on a calendar, she still forgets about it. So that's her.
But at least it's there.
Mine. Yeah, I could be like, I told you that I'm doing that. But it's I think like that's a guy thing. I think is the communication. I was listening to something today and a book I'm reading. For my men's group. I'm not really happy I'm reading it, but I said I would do it. But it did talk about communication of men. It was one of the it's about relationships and a lot of it with women. But like when my wife wants to talk, I don't want to talk. Mm-hmm. That's what they're talking about, right? That's the major thing. Like all the time when my wife wants to talk about shit, I don't want to talk about it. And then when I want to do something, my wife doesn't want to do. You know, like when it comes to like, and when I heard that, I was like, holy shit, that's my entire like life has been like that. Like. And there's for me, when she wants to talk, instead of just being like, let's talk, I'm just actively resisting it still sometimes. I'm like, what, like, I don't want to talk right now at 11:15 about what's going on. I want to go to bed. Like that just happens to be. And then because I have it now that if I keep pushing that away, then she's eventually not going to talk to me about it. Mm-hmm. But the communication thing is like, I mean, if we could figure that out, we'd all be in a better space, I think.
Yeah, we'd be happier.
I didn't say just men because
we would all be. Yeah,
but
for sure.
Put on the calendar.
Yeah,
stop dropping shit on your wife last minute.
The other thing is like I'm a very outgoing person and I like people. Right, I've already said I like doing things in groups, and my wife, her happy place is at home, like in her space, you know. So now that we've brought Scarlett into the picture, if she just wants to sit at home, but I don't, you know, now that Scarlett's older, I can just, me and Scarlett are going, we're going to go do it. And, you know, I don't know if that makes her upset. Like she'd rather us just be sitting at home with her, or, you know, when Scarlett was younger and is like, I can't take her, but I want to go do this and we could go do it together, but now. And so that, and that part of that was on me, like not reading the room, because did I need to go do whatever I was wanting to do? No, but I didn't want to sit at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I maybe that just kind of is another chapter in the communication book, but
I think it's a relationship thing. Like just there's 4 letters that come to word CODA, codependency. So that's that you're not like, it's the same thing. Like you have one person, my wife's the same way. My wife can be happy to spend the whole weekend up here watching movies. And I want to be a social person. So like for the many years, I did 2 things. Number one, I just went out and did shit on my own, right? Without, you know, communicating to her, or I stayed home and did that and held a lot of resentment towards her. And like the other thing now is like, that's the thing is like, if she wants to do that, that's the key thing. If she wants to stay here tonight, that doesn't mean I have to. If my wife is upset today, I can talk to her, find out what's going on, listen to her, not solve her problems. Cause I'm not gonna be able to do that. But that doesn't mean I can't go visit my dad if I want to, or I can't do these other things. You know, and the same thing is like when I'm in a bad mood, it doesn't mean she has to be in a bad mood too. It comes that whole thing is like relationships are, you know.
Yeah.
I identify as a codependent. I don't know if my wife does, but I don't really care. It's fine. But I'm okay with that. I know what that means now. Like those things you talked about, like,
yep.
You know, if she's happy, I can be happy. Which is it used to be. It's not how it is anymore. I can have a bad day. I can not be doing well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm happy and she's had a bad day,
that makes sense.
Because my wife had a medical procedure today, like nothing major. Like I don't know why I keep saying it that way. Like she had a colonoscopy, it's not a big deal. She's trying, but like a lot of people be like, oh, how could you did you not take the whole day off? Did you not how could you do this when she's fine upstairs? Right. If anything happens, she can come down the stairs but like people like I know I was there with her. I took her there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some people are like, oh, I can't do anything the whole day. I'm not like that. I'm kind of like, hey, we'll be okay. You know what I mean? Right. Now had something happen where we found out it's bad news. That's different, but like it's just in general.
Standard. These are standard everyday stuff.
Yeah, communication is the key. I mean, communication's like not just with spouses either. It's like
it's
everything, just general with everybody.
Right? Yeah.
So let's talk about we're getting close to time here. Not really, but we can go as long as we want to go because I'm in charge. But let's talk more about I think you've said it several times that like being part of the group, being part of all the kind of stuff is important to you. Like what got you into? Is everybody have the old school hats here? I don't have the cool kid hat he has there, which I really could go for, Justin.
We'll get one for you.
I'll get you one. What got you into American Hero Hunt?
Oh, man.
We'll get to the next questions.
Yeah. So one of our old board members, his name is Randy Bussert. He and I were friends before I met Justin. Justin and him are buddies. Randy and I are buddies. Randy was involved with American Hero Hunt. And I was on a golf course on a Saturday in June of, was it 17?
He's like, no.
2021. It's been COVID because our guy canceled for COVID.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, 2020. Yeah, it would have been because Leah was pregnant. Scarlett wasn't born yet.
You're only 4 years off. It's no big deal.
Is what it is. I can't read.
You were in the Air Force. It's okay.
Air Force, Newark. I'm striking out.
Lacrosse player. It's okay.
So I'm on a golf course. Randy gives me a call. He's like, hey, we are leaving tomorrow. So Sunday afternoon for a fishing trip on Lake Erie. And we're taking 4 heroes and one of them canceled last minute. We got to fill a seat. Do you want to go? Sure. So meet up with the guys, get, the full hero experience. And I was at the next board meeting and never left. The thing that community and the outdoors gives you, or what I guess what I experienced there may have been the closest thing that to what I experienced in the military. Just the camaraderie, the group setting, doing something that we loved to do together again. Right. And I wanted to be on the other end of that, giving that experience to someone else. And I said in the bio, I don't hunt for myself as much anymore.
So before we keep going,
okay.
I just it's a good part to pause. So it's 2021. You go on this experience as a hero experience. You talked about camaraderie. What, you've been out a little while. You've been almost that's almost 10 years. You've been out of the military, right? What was so profound about just being with the people? What was great about the experience that all of a sudden you're like, hey, I got to show up at the board meeting. I want to know more about this feeling. Because a lot of people are the exact, the other part of that is had a great time. I'm going to find the next place I can go to and continue that experience. I'm going to go elk hunt in Colorado now. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
What made you what was so profound to you that you wanted to okay, I've what was, other than camaraderie, what was so important to you about American Hero Hunt, that experience? Because you went fishing, right? Yeah,
we did. We
in Lake Erie.
Yep.
It isn't the Gulf of America.
No,
it's not to take yourself back. What hit you so hard about it?
I'd never been on a chartered fishing trip before, right? Mm-hmm. And mainly because you're like, man, that's probably really expensive, mm-hmm. and I'm not going to spend the money on that. So to be able to go and do that, and spend the night in a hotel up there, get wined and dined, so to speak. They cleaned our fish for us, sending us home with a freezer full of fresh walleye. And then, building a relationship with not only obviously I knew a board member that was on the trip, Randy, but, meeting the guys that went with us and staying in contact with them, this whole thing builds a brotherhood that we'll have forever, similar to me and Josh Lely in Afghanistan, mm-hmm. my roommate from Afghanistan. Now I still follow some other people that I was in Afghanistan with, on social media or whatever, but, Josh and I talk probably once a month still. And it created that feeling for me. And I have a servant heart, I guess. So I wanted to be a part of creating that experience for someone else. Mm-hmm. And I get to participate. So now I'm checking two boxes, I'm not just, I want to go see what other organizations are going to pick me to go on another hunt. I want to be the organization that picks someone to come on a hunt. Mm. So I'm going to get to sit in the blind with you and feel the same emotions that you do when you harvest a deer, or go out on the boat with you and be just as excited when you reel a fish in. It checked multiple boxes for me. So that's why I wanted to continue with the organization, but from the back end instead of just being a consumer.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I asked all these questions, there's something that's going on in my mind with it as well, because it was funny when you came in. I don't Justin left to go appropriately to go to Cabela's, which is just around the corner for some other stuff. But I was worried about parking. Like there's all this stuff that goes on. I love like sometimes what we talk about here, but our minds go on. So like, we had to figure out some parking. So I go up and my dad is like walking around here with the food. And then like my dad gave me the food to bring, and I grabbed it to come down here. And like people often like, this is episode 97. So I think like we're getting close to episode 100.
Yeah.
And I think there's some stuff is like it's awesome to see like Justin here is like, I'm awful at remembered numbers. I don't try to remember everybody's number, but my dad was a guest. So like you start to remember the conversations. Like I can look at him over, like people can't see, but I can look over you and see him. So, people a lot of times are like, hey, there's these people you can interview through like, and I'm set up to do it in different ways, like not in person, but like today it was one of the weird things is like I was bringing my dad the food that my dad got down, and like the environment, like when you walked in, like you asked like, oh, have things changed? And people like when they come down here, people's reaction when they come down here is interesting because it's like I want it to be a safe space for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's that you're the star of the show. You're like we're taking care of you, and like there's a part of that like when I was thinking about the food today, it's kind of weird. I was like, man, like I hope I do really appreciate us. We do that for everybody. Like people comes in, like you asked me if you can bring whiskey, you did. You don't have to. Like I don't like. I would tell you not to, but like some people want to do that. I don't want to step on you, but like tell people no. But like that, I think there's a part of that there's a part of me I didn't realize it. So today is like I have realized it before today. It just hit me today in a weird way. I was like, holy cow, man! Like I'm really blessed to be able to give this experience to people to come down,
awesome.
like to be able to come into my home, to be able to like Justin coming back, like you guys coordinated before. You just told me he was coming, like. That's cool. Like I have no problems with that. But yeah, I think that's that same feeling of like, it is that feeling to me is what keeps me going.
Mm-hmm.
Like that service to other people that like other people haven't gotten, like somebody gotten the experience of like you coming here and you telling your story, you being our guest, truly our guest, like coming down here, like, people don't see it like today's, we always have really good food. It's
top notch, man.
Yeah, it's like it's a good time. Everybody's like we're having a good time, and I think there's something to be said about that. And it's one of the reasons, like you're the second person to come on for American Hero Hunt, and I know what you guys are doing. We kind of like operate in the same waters, but
yeah,
it's also one of the reasons why I don't like reach out to the like I would love to go do that with you guys, but I also am like I want other people to get what I think I'm giving in a different way, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So, and not to make people wrong, I know a lot of people are going and they're like, they love to take, and it's okay. I'm fine with that, but it's just interesting to, I joke aside about like getting a different hat from you. Like, but that's not what I'm in this for, to get something else. It's always like, no, I mean, in reality, it's about that giving of that experience. I don't think people like, I think sometimes I'm sorry to like digress here, but I think as we're getting into like 97, men and women have sat here across, man. It's like kind of like, it's starting to hit me as we're getting to 100, that's a lot of people. I never thought it would get to, I never thought it'd be one, let alone 100. Yeah. Like, and so, but like when you talk about giving, there's a part of me, like, there's always a part of it. It's like, am I helping? Am I doing this? What's the point of this? But like, like you said today, like that's what, when having people that are in other veteran organizations like this, there is that like giving for you guys to come here to be able to like just show up, because you guys, everyone's nervous. You guys can pretend like you're not.
Oh no.
Everyone's nervous to come in here. Like I'm sometimes still nervous depending on who, like, I mean, I'm always nervous to until we get rolling about some things. So just to be able to like give somebody the opportunity to feel like, it was that feeling of like, of getting something like you, like today is like your day, what I mean?
No, it felt good to share the post on Facebook and see, some people commenting on it, and in the moment, like I kind of got the whole like butterfly thing, and like I was nervous, but it was an excited nervous, right? Because I've done a few podcasts mainly with the American Hero Hunt guys, and in camp. And so there's 6 of us sitting around, and we, just got back from a hunt and finished dinner. And so that's its own environment. Right. And then we've done the Roughnecks podcast. But it's always been Justin and I. And I was excited but nervous to be. It's just me. Like now I'm out on my own, so to speak.
Well, it's your story. It's like your story.
Yeah,
that's the
right.
thing. Is like and that's one thing. It's just like sometimes it's like it's just these. It just goes back to I'm always struggling with it. It is and I think anybody is like I was just talking to somebody else about. I can't have tell me times people are like, oh my gosh, is this your full-time job? Like, no, this is not my full-time job. I make no money doing this.
Right. It's harder than
like
people
it's a
think.
passion project, and like it's and to be honest with you, when it started off, a lot of it was to like, not a lot of it, part of it was to feed my own ego and some things of aspects, and now I'm like, it couldn't be anything further than that, you know what I mean? And just like it's changed so much, and like it's that feeling you said before of like, what, like, because I have all, my father-in-law was on not too long ago, and you see all these organizations are like, why don't you go do these things? Why don't you go do the like there's a part of me that's like, like why can't I go on an American Hero hunt? You know what I mean? I probably could if I filled out the application, but like there's a part of me that like somebody else needs that. Right. And that's important to me. Somebody else truly needs that to like either get them through the darkest days or to launch them into like where they're doing the things that the guys are on my board or on the boards of American Hero Hunt or these other things. Like I just, I don't need it. I'm more into the giving mode of like others haven't gotten, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of power into being able to see that, you know what I mean?
We get a lot of our applicants, maybe not a lot, but there's quite a few that, I'm sure Justin touched on it when you guys did the last his podcast, but how we select, we get all the applicants in, we read through all the names and the bios, and then the board votes, and
they never vote to take me. I'm joking.
Well, a lot of times we call the person and they're like, man, it's so awesome, thank you, but there's got to be someone else more deserving. Or we will talk to people like yourself and say, you should absolutely apply. Like, nah, I don't. And what's been cool is within the last 2 years, we've seen more nominations than applications.
Yeah.
That's the ticket right there, because it was hard for me to write that bio.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I think a lot of it is like, I like the nominations too, but I also think like a lot of it has to be like, but to be driven in what we want in life. And like, I'm like, I have it that like, just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Right. No matter what you did, like everybody wants to do that. But the part of it is everybody says that, and then they're angry. Like there's a party, they're angry that they're not getting to go. Like they watch one and go, well, put your app. Like I'm all joking aside. Like I'm sure I could have, like in the time that Justin's been on, I can't remember. It's been a little bit. I mean, this could have been some time that I could have worked out me going on a hunt or fishing or an experience with American Hero. I just haven't done it. So I can assign some story that other than me just wanting to do it. Right. You know what I mean? But I can sit here and be like, oh, I'm so sad about all this kind of stuff. Like, but just put it out there. And the most important thing about it is, like I said before, like, I think there's a huge thing that people don't understand. Like others haven't gotten, like, go out and experience these things. These organizations are like, this is what you might be looking for.
Yeah.
That it might be that experience of just, getting out there, getting something that you don't think you deserve. All of a sudden you're like, wow, I'm back with people that, sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need to be picked up, brushed off, and saying, pat on the butt and saying, hey, you deserve this. This is okay. And then like, it just launches into other things, like that feeling of like, imagine if you would have if you'd have said no to that opportunity,
right?
Like, what does your life look like when it comes to American Hero Hunt?
I mean, we've had guys in 48 hours tell us that they've shared things with us that their wives don't know. And it's all it's the environment, it's the trust, it's the brotherhood. And, you know, there's the guy that is the president of our PA chapter. He was chosen for an archery hunt, and this was the first hunt that I decided I was going to help out in camp and not go hunt. And one of our board members filled in. They both are police officers. They've both been shot in the line of duty, and they both went to the same rehab facility about 6 months apart. You don't think that was a coincidence that they ended up spending the entire weekend together? Tommy's the hero from PA, who's now running the PA chapter. He's told all of us that we saved his life that weekend. That's why we do this. And that's why getting people that don't think they need it, get them nominated or tell your story and come out.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing about it. And then all these organizations, like, it starts from, like, you know, I was just talking to another friend of ours, you know, in the same realm, and we could talk off camera about it. But yeah, there's a part of it, like, I'm comfortable now with the sacrifice of what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, and it is a part of it. Like, I'm okay with all the work that goes into making sure that you have a good time, that you show up, you know, donate the money to scholarships. I'm totally okay with being that other people feel that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I didn't always feel that way. And sometimes it took a lot of, like, getting through that comfort back. It is these nonprofits are huge. Like, I think people don't realize the amount of magnitude. It's easy to get involved into, like, the Mission 22, all these other big organizations that are going out there. I think that, don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on them either, but like the reality is, like, I'm giving my dad a lot of shit. My dad's the one who paid for all the food tonight. That's pretty, like, I'm pretty blessed to be able to do that. You know what I mean? That's a choice he makes, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the thing that, like, and what's important to me is, like, you know, people to feel comfortable, be able to do these things. And I think, like, everybody has to find that. And there's all these niches that come to, you know, like, I've never been hunting before. So there's a part of me too that's like, I can't lie. Like, why don't I sign up to do some of this hunting stuff? Number one thing is because I don't want to look like an idiot, because I have no idea what I'm fucking doing, right? And if I'm being real, like, that's the reality of part of it. But then the other part about it comes down to is, like, if there's somebody else that can connect, and all these things are not coincidental, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, like, I don't think there's people aren't here, so I don't know if they feel it or whatever. And I can only explain it, but, like, there's something to be said about, Justin is a guest here. He's here with you right now, watching to do that. Like, you're part of the organization. Like, I feel good about that. And I can, as crappy as my day may have been today or will be tomorrow, whatever, I'm happy that I gave you the opportunity to come in and tell your story.
I really appreciate it,
man.
You
know, people that come in and share, like, it means a whole lot, because it's important, right? Like, you know, each person's story is important, right? We pretend like it isn't, but as I hear all these stories, like, there's so many similarities that come together. Like, you just shared about those two guys there's so many similarities that continue to, like, just, if we just listen and, like, talk to one another, we just start to, like, bond in a way that I never thought I'd be able to think about. It's like, I don't know why I'm getting all sentimental about getting to the 100th episode.
It's a big milestone, man. I mean, we just hit 100 heroes.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to take lightly. Like, that's a lot of lives impacted.
It's a lot of, like, it's a lot of, like, it's just a lot of stories. I think the story is important. I think there's something to be said about, like, somebody, like, there's somebody, I think about all the guests, like, some people are, like, gung-ho about sharing stuff. Some people aren't, like, and I'm just glad everybody just who comes in and tells their story. Like, just, there's no one's getting hurt.
Right.
No one's biting you. We're not attacking you. It's like, and it's just, it's a and I've learned something from everybody. That's the thing. I think as I go by and look at all those things, I can almost remember, Justin being here, like some of the things we talked about, and obviously with my dad, I can remember those things. But like that's the point of being able to, like, hopefully someone's listening and they learned something about you that they didn't learn. Like your daughter can hear,
Right.
hear something about you, your friends, whatever. And it is exciting when you guys do post something and someone's like, I can't wait to hear,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like about it, that's, I love it. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many views somebody has. I don't care.
Right. It's not about that.
But it's just being that opportunity to be able to, like, to be able to tell your story. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when it comes outdoors, like what, like, you talked about, you being on the, participant, and now you're on the board. Like, what do you think? And you did share a story about, two guys that, were, pretty much the same experiences together. Like, what do you think is important about the outdoors? If you were to look at it now, like the importance of being outdoors, because I have it that, I've done a lot of like fishing, like, charter fishing. Like I have it that like going out and not even catching anything is just as fun as catching something. It's the experience in itself. So what is the outdoors? What do you think is the connection that is why it's important to veterans?
It's the quiet, I think. It's all the outside distractions and noise go away. And that's one thing that we strive to do for any hero that comes into camp is we don't want them to have to worry about anything except the hunt. All they have to do, they don't got to worry about what they're eating, where they're sleeping, whatever. You come in and we're just going to go out and we're going to enjoy God's creation. And when it's crazy. The fact that you've never been hunting, I don't care if it's an American hero hunt, we're going to take you out. Because sitting in the woods in the dark in the morning and watching nature come, like wake up, is something that you can't explain. Seeing an animal walk by, doing its normal everyday routine, not knowing that you're there, is one of the coolest things. And this is all before you see a big buck or whatever, like, or you're ready to harvest a doe. Yeah,
no, I agree. I think for me, it's interesting because I have like my backyard is like, has a lot. It's interesting. There's a lot of life that rolls through here.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a couple, we have a family of deer that come through, but there's like a buck that's been come through every year. And I make a joke every year that I'd love to kill this buck. But the part of me, to be honest, and just the other day, the huge tom came through here.
Oh yeah.
Like, and so I'm like, holy cow. And the part of me, the reality of there's a part of me that says, yeah, I'd love to like smoke the shit out of those animals. But there's a part of me, if I'm being honest, like I don't want to do that.
Well, it's
and there's like that's a huge part of me that like I haven't said in a long time about the hunting is like there's a I get it. I know what it means, but to me there's like it means something to me like that to watch those deer come through, like to be able to like to leave in the morning and see 6 deer bedded down next to me and like a buck like watching them, like that to me is like
that's awesome.
That feels good to me. And I know I can go on a hunt where I probably if I went on a hunt, I'm like 9 out of 10 times I talk a lot of shit. A lot mainly it comes with when it comes to Bigfoot, but I don't think I'm going to shoot the deer.
Okay.
It's just I feel the same way you felt about the experience of seeing it. It's like that's just not like like to me, my family, my wife doesn't eat any type of wild game. So like I'm not I could give away the meat. I could do that's just how I've lived my life. But like, there's a thing of like seeing that turkey walk through and I love it. I send it to any kind of like hunting friend. They're like, we'll smoke that turkey. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and there's a part of me that wants to, but then a part of me was like, bro, I just like watching it walk through my yard. Like, I mean,
what am I going to watch tomorrow?
Like the buck, like 15 feet away. I'm like, this motherfucker doesn't like, I mean, I want to kill you, but I also am like, cool, bro. And I don't know if I don't know what that means or if it even means anything. You know what I mean?
No, it definitely means something. The crazy thing is like a lot of people that aren't for hunting and I'm not saying you're not for it.
I'm not. No, I'm absolutely for hunting.
Yeah,
It's
like
just like
some
for me.
people that aren't for hunting think that hunters just hate animals, right? And it couldn't be farther from the truth. I mean, most of the conservation, fundraising and movements and everything like that are led by hunters. And I get it makes sense if your wife doesn't eat wild game and all that stuff. Like my wife doesn't like steak, but she will destroy ground deer. And so
yeah. No, I mean, but that's what I'm saying is I think a lot of it comes down to like, I know what that is. Like, I know, but that feeling, like, I think that is something what you said before is like, I have a friend of mine I always give him a hard time about. He goes hunting all the time. And he hasn't killed anything in like 8 years.
Yeah.
I think the whole experience of seeing it, like, I really like watching a fucking buck come across, like within 15 feet of you is like super cool. Like to know, like, there's a part of it that knows like, bro, I could end your life. I could smoke you pretty quickly, like, and be okay with it. Like, but I think like, and like I think there's, and I think it's a connection to nature, and I think there's and I get it. I think there's, I have nothing against hunting. I think it's cool. Like I mean, if that's what you're into, because most hunters I know are doing that. Like I mean, I have venison meat 20 feet from us. Like I just don't like. No one's it's not. I'm only eating it at certain times. You know what I mean? But
and it's also
I
like
think it's a nature that what you said. I think hit it at the head is like being able to the quiet.
Dude.
And I think I pulled a quote from Remy Warren. It said like hunting is about balance with nature, with ourselves, and with our place in the world. It's a lesson we can apply to every aspect of our lives. And I see it that with a lot of it. It's like I do miss that. I do miss the quiet of there's something to be said about that. And maybe I need to do experience that in a point of like, because that's the world is like you go out and hunt and the first thing everybody says to you is like, what'd you get?
Well, it's called hunting, not killing for a reason.
But a lot of people go out and they spend time. I mean, be realistic. You give people a hard time about going out and like,
did you catch anything?
Yeah. It's
did you catch a deer?
Did you catch a fish? I've caught some pretty good fish though, but hey, we're running into some time here. So let's, anything else you want to share? This is your time. Anything we missed about the, Travis Lindner?
No, I don't think so, man. I think
you said it all.
I think we got it all out. This has been so much fun. It's been great to meet you. I know we've kind of went back and forth trying to line up schedules, but shout out to my mom and dad for keeping Scarlett tonight so I could sneak away. And thank you so much.
I do have one more question though. I was asked this, and you thought you were off the hook since you have more. I asked everybody this question. So with all the focus is on veteran and warrior class suicide or mental health, what in your opinion is not being done that needs to be done?
Man. I don't know how you could, like, I don't know how to accomplish this, but I do feel like the amount of the number of veterans who need help or need a resource shouldn't have to wait as long to get that answer. There needs to be more, like, and I don't know if you argue that it should be like 1 for 1. That would obviously be a lot, but
what do you mean 1 for 1?
Like one person to handle one case or one veteran, or you know what I mean? Like, just all I hear from people who are dealing with the VA is the amount of time it takes. Now I know it's gotten better. But that's probably.
Yeah, I think that's like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like everybody, being involved in 1-to-1 is great, but I just don't think the numbers.
It's not feasible.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it just comes down to like we always talked about. It's just like be there, like, and the person that we're gonna honor tonight is like it almost like it and we'll get into that. And I think it's important. Like he actually is an Ohio guy who lost his son. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe a couple weeks before he took his life, in Warsaw, Ohio. So not too far from us, but like you think about like, one of my dad's family friends, one of our family friends, Carol, actually brought up that he had lost his son after one of my posts, and then he like a week later took his own life. So you kind of wonder, like in that 2-week period of time, like I get it, right? I get what's going on, but like in that 2-week time, like who could you have reached out to and like and change it? Because it's like it's just a crazy trajectory of like, holy shit, when you hear about this, it's like he lost his son to suicide, teenager kid, like, which is just mind-boggling, right? And it's the same thing. It's not any less tragic than like the suicide epidemic has happened to everybody. I mean, I'm just coming from it from a point of, the warrior class, which is what I'm familiar with, but yeah, like to go from like, losing a son to that, and then to like 2 weeks later to do that and leave your family there. It's a sad thing. So I think a lot of it does come time to like, I wish a lot of it, but the one-to-one is like you said before, you've talked about it, and I've talked about a lot, is like, you just have to like have the hard conversation with people. Like chat with them. It's like, communication. If you're not doing well, like be honest. Like, how you doing today? I'm doing really shitty. Like, and when someone says that to you, don't be like, oh shit, my wife is calling me, I gotta go. Like, what is going on? Like, figure out what's going on. I think that's the disconnect, and because it can be one-to-one. It doesn't have to be a counselor. Like, don't get me wrong. The Veterans Crisis Hotline 988. There's professionals that are doing that. Like, I mean, as I've been in this now, I'm a little bit more well-versed to like talk to people about it, but I was like, at no way am I an expert at dealing with someone that's suicidal, but I listen.
But you're going to answer. Answer the phone. And
I can like, I can really listen to what's going on and kind of like give you my, like how I have it in the world, what's going on with me, relate to you. And I think the one-to-one is, I think it's more than that. It can actually be way more. I think there's like 100-to-1 of how we feel the same way. You just have to like reach out and do that. So good answer. I appreciate it. Yeah. So tonight we're gonna, unfortunately, like I said, this kind of hits home a little bit of. It's even more kind of. I guess it's more upsetting just knowing. Like I just want to share. I think it's important to know that his son did take his life a couple weeks before he took his life. So tonight we honor U.S. Army's Sergeant First Class Jonathan Carl Atwood, 44 years old. Jonathan took his life on May 2nd, 2026 in Warsaw, Ohio. Jonathan was born on May 14th, 1981 in Secaucus, Ohio. After graduating from high school, Jonathan joined the United States Army as an infantryman. During his 20 years of service, Jonathan deployed multiple times to Iraq and Southwest Asia. Jonathan received many medals of service and commendation, including the Purple Heart and the Combat Infantry Badge. After leaving the Army, Jonathan worked with Ashton Hayes and served as a Triverton Township trustee. Jonathan also volunteered with the Secaucus County Joint Veterans Council Honor Guard. Jonathan was a history buff, especially collecting World War II memorabilia, a hobby he shared with his son Darian. Jonathan also loved traveling with his family. No matter where he was, you can find Jonathan wearing his cargo shorts and Hawaiian t-shirt. Jonathan loved his children and spoiled them at every opportunity. He will be remembered for being selfless and always willing to help those around him. He is survived by his mother, Tresha, father, David, children Drake and Deslin, grandchildren Trustin and Asher, brothers Anthony, Todd, and Dustin, and numerous other relatives and friends. And please, if you or someone you know is in crisis and might be considering suicide, please contact the Veterans Crisis Line at 988 or 1-800-273-8255 and press 1, or you can text 838-255, or you can now chat online at veteranscrisisline.net/chat. Yeah, and it's this one hits hard. It was crazy that a family friend brought that up, and I was just like, before you know it, this guy took his life. So please, like, if you're struggling, reach out to somebody. Somebody wants to hear, and as much as he loved his one son, obviously, like as I shared before, I get kind of irritated by this. He also left 2 other children that were super important to him that are kind of wondering here. So yeah. I'm also honored and angered to be able to share that with him. It's kind of a weird story, but I do want to thank you for coming on for episode 97. Thanks for finally getting our schedules cleared. Thank you for your in-laws for taking care of the kids, or kid as you were able to come in. I was getting kind of worried. I was like, oh no, here we go. We got a jockey around. But it always works out. You just stay patient, take a deep breath, and everything works itself out. So I'll end with one more quote before we head out. I'm all by myself again here. Sorry, everybody.
It's a one-man show.
And this is from Brené Brown. It says, authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. I think that's important. So again, I do want to thank you for coming in. Thank you for organizing and doing that. I know your wife's having a good time down in good old Tennessee, Nashville. I do want to thank you for coming in. I want to thank you for number one for your service.
Thank you.
To the country as well as the citizens of Ohio for 6 years and your time in the Guard. Also, I want to thank you for what you're doing for American Hero Hunt. As a secretary right now. You're the secretary?
I'm
All right,
secretary.
Cool. You got a gun for the big guy there soon. So. But I do want to thank you for that. Thank you for coming in, and everyone that's listening. Remember, like you said, put your phone down.
Yeah.
Call a friend. Take your kids outside. Have the hard conversations.
Put
life
on the
happens
calendar.
in those moments, and before you know it, they'll be gone. So it has been my honor to have you on for episode 97.
Thank you, Jack.
We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Take care, everyone. Good night.
See ya.